ASTRO Open is brought to you by ASTRO, Monster Energy, Corsair, Zowie, and Intel.
Another installment of the DreamHack ASTRO Open. It is an absurd tour that does indeed go around the world tour included. Now we are in here, Jönköping, and we're going to be seeing some Swedish Counter-Strike from Swedes in Sweden. I'm looking forward to it here. The hashtag is DHOpen. Please do continue to get involved. You guys are great, both here in the center and, of course, over on the internet. There's plenty of us joining us for our final game. Fnatic will be taking on CLG Gaming. We get to see the North Americans who caused the stir of getting the first win of their group. And now they'll be playing against Fnatic, which could prove to be a little too much. To talk about it, I have some analysts, but first of all, my favorite movie is Inception. And if you want a dream hack within a dream hack, you can talk about Malmö. That is what's going on as well. 2nd to the 3rd of September. Tickets. Do it. It was awesome. One of my favorite events to date, if I'm honest, and that is speaking from completely openly and honestly. Amazing event. NIP and Godsend on the stage, Let Crow's like shaking and he's hitting headshots. One of my favorites.
It was a pretty good event.
The crowd was
not gonna
nuts.
lie.
Did you get to see, I mean, you got to see it, right? You were watching it online.
Oh, yeah.
Absolutely incredible. 2nd to 3rd of September, if you're around. It's like a quick plane to Copenhagen, which, of course, you can tell us. Copenhagen is lovely, isn't it?
Yeah, it's okay.
Okay.
Oh, God.
Well, not to worry, not to worry. You only have to stay there for a couple of minutes before you take a 20-minute ride across the bridge and you'll be in Malmö.
Yeah, but it's literally 2 countries, and then it's just a bridge over some water.
Yeah.
It's chill. It's worth the trip. Anyway, that's some Counter-Strike coming up. For now, the Counter-Strike that's immediately coming up. Get to see Fnatic again. Olaf, gracious in victory, was talking about how he personally didn't perform. Maybe this is going to be the game for him.
What are you talking about? He said it on Twitter himself. He had 9 impact kills, 0 impact deaths.
Boom.
There you have it. Carried his team.
The stats do not always tell the whole story.
Exactly. No, yeah, Olaf taking a bit of a hit, playing a position he's not normally used to on Mirage. But, you know, in the end, it all comes together for Fnatic. The rest of the players thrived. So Fnatic looking definitely solid in their first showing. But, you know, you can't escape the fact that CLG did look very impressive versus Gambit on Overpass. Especially Ricky, I think you have to highlight him. I think Kusta as well, eventually, you know, as the game progressed, got into it as well. But Ricky was pretty much the catalyst for CLG's success early on in that game. And he was just able to maintain that kind of a momentum and just impact for the entire game.
So far today, it has actually been teams with that double powerful AWP succeeding. CLG, Immortals have just done it versus SK. This tournament is giving and giving. This one, no exception. Now, expectations, Jacob, when you think about these two teams. I know CLG are coming in as underdogs, but let's focus on them first, just because I'm interested to know what you make of them. You've seen one best of one, beating Gambit of all teams. What's your thoughts?
Yeah, I'm not sure what I make of them yet. Still, like, we saw Ricky play well, you know, and he needs to do that again in order to go up against Fnatic. That's for sure. I still think Gambit are, like, they're coming back from vacation. They weren't, like, they're not in shape. It's, what, 3 days ago they lost 16-4 to North Academy. Like, I won't take too much away from that game just yet, you know. But they were looking pretty sharp. CLG, they were looking better than they have like before. I'd say still going up against Gambit weren't that great. I find it hard to see they beat Fnatic now. You know, I think they can put up a good fight. They need a map in their favor in order to really put up a great fight. But it's leaning towards Fnatic just from the paper.
And let's kind of expand upon that. FNS's interview, he actually started pointing a lot of praise towards their coach. I'm a pet, im a pet, whatever you want to call him.
The coach.
The coach. Yeah. And FNS had lots of positive words. Cutler as well. You see him on your screens with his hipster name backwards. Halvor, they've been praising this guy for someone that just watches demos for a living. Now, there's no argument that is beneficial to a team, is there?
No, it's always going to be beneficial. I guess the degree of efficiency you get out of that is obviously how good he's at relaying that kind of information that he picks up on and the tendencies he sees within opponents. And, you know, apparently he's doing a really good job of it. And you could tell that they're really hard at work as well. CLG were pretty much the only team who has been sitting at their computers the entire time at the backstage here, just watching demos, getting ready. The only one for Fnatic goes around, as far as I could tell, was Jumpy. But I guess, you know, that again, that's kind of his role in the team as well. But CLG are definitely committed and very focused on, you know, the task at hand.
I've just realized that Kusta's name, his actual initials he's called Kenneth, right?
Yeah.
His actual initials are Kenny S. Not even baiting. He's going to be a man. Just wait for him. He's going to take over, start speaking French.
It's Jason's boy.
It's all a simulation.
Talking about coach though, like you talked about how well a coach is to like explain his points and how well he like capitalizes of what he sees. You know, it also depends on the players. You know, how good are they to actually receive that information? Because I've played with players who like even if they had the best coach in the world, they wouldn't be able to actually get anything from him because they're not. It's kind of like a teacher-student relationship. Yeah, they're not receptive to information. Like they play their game, and if someone tells them that's not okay, then they're just gonna shut down. You know, so it seems like CLG are on board with this whole coaching, and it seems like they all like have the same mindset, and that's like very important for a coach to succeed, because otherwise his job is impossible to do.
But if you keep saying things like that and tweeting things like they have about this coach, then suddenly the respect is garnered. You have to respect it, you have to appreciate it, and you have to take it on board. So they're in the right environment, and I mean, just the last words from Pujan were that actually we're not there yet. It's a statement we hear from a lot of teams, but it does feel like CLG are in a growth phase.
I do like the fact that he started out with saying, you know, we want to aim for top 10. We're not there yet. Can we beat SK today? I'm like, yeah. It's like, no, not a problem.
That's because Parla's asking them, where do you want to finish? Everyone wants to finish first.
That's fair. Actually, that would be pretty surprising. It was like, we're kind of happy if we get out of groups.
Yeah, we're aiming for groups. Aiming for get out of groups.
Aiming for,
not the right mindset. We're getting distracted. Fnatic, though, Halvor, is where I'm going to throw you into this one. The Swedes, home soil.
Home soil, definitely. Obviously, there's a limit to how much they can hear through soundproof booths, but they can they can see hands, clapping and whatnot for them, and that's probably going to be a nice boost to have. But for the better part of it, 4 out of the 5 members showed up in their first game. Olaf, as he mentioned himself, didn't have the best of games, but in the grand scheme of things, it doesn't really matter when you have the rest of the team averaging 25 kills. Yeah. We also saw some great individual things. It's also just. That's kind of what you're used to with Fnatic, but you also saw some great cohesion between them and actually how they approached, retakes, as we saw multiple times on that A-bomb side, and how kind of like poised they were on their T side as well. Again, it's not necessarily that typical to see Fnatic be extremely slow paced, but we saw that from them on Mirage as well. They could all, they still have that element of being able to push the tempo whenever they feel like it, but so far from what we've seen out of Fnatic, it was pretty promising. And if you add Olaf Meister hitting his stride, in addition to all of that, then you have a pretty great team. And
they haven't crossed the hat threshold as well. Just Crims is wearing a hat. Had they been wearing more than 3 hats, that's when they're obviously going to lose. That's my analysis for you. Jumpy's got one as well, which is included.
Does he count as half a hat?
Oh, it's more of a half hat.
Yeah, okay,
it's a half hat.
Half hat.
Yeah, I'm always here for you guys. On Twitter, let me know if you're keeping your eye on the hats theory. I think just FNS is wearing one, so we're okay. Vetoes, though, underway. It's always just interesting to see what's like a priority in terms of those bans. Of course, not necessarily dictated, but...
Understandable that Fnatic wants to remove Cobble going up against CLG, but in one of their good formats. Same thing with Overpass after seeing them beat Gambit on it.
Makes sense.
So if this, okay, I was about to say if this goes to Cash, I wouldn't be too surprised if Fnatic decide to remove that as well.
So what have we got left? Train and what am I missing?
Mirage.
Mirage.
Which is an all-time like favorite matchup like on Mirage. I remember like it was in a period where Fnatic were pretty much unbeatable, where CLG like put them up to a fight, and I don't remember if they actually won or
no, they did. It was a best of one, and they did all this homework. They had all the strats out, and they actually took Fnatic.
Exactly. So that'll be a pretty nice like regame in that sense.
Yeah. Ends up being Train though.
Yes.
Never mind. Sadly.
You set the scene, and it comes crumbling down.
But still.
Train's still a pretty decent map for CLG. They've played it a fair bit with this lineup as well. And again, this is one of those awkward things. We talked about like how the dynamic between Kusta and Ricky works in terms of like who's opping this time around, if they're going to double up and so on. And for the better part of it, Ricky is actually the one who takes the op most in hand on Train for CLG. So a bit of a change up there, but it's seemingly working out pretty nicely for them. They haven't necessarily toppled like the biggest hurdles in NA when they've played them, like teams like Cloud9, etc., who are very good Train teams. But they've still gotten, a fair bit of decent results. Fnatic on their end, they've been not necessarily great on Train, but they played it a lot. It was the map that they lost the tiebreakers on in Pro League. But, it's a map they should be comfortable on. Whether or not that's going to be enough to go up against the CLG that, from the looks of it, are very prepared, because that's pretty much all they've been doing for the last couple of hours. That remains to be seen, but it's definitely a comfort pick for, I think both teams can go into this feeling fairly comfortable about what they have to offer.
I mean, it's certainly one where double AWPs are viable. Love to see that back up in action, get to see the mini Kenny S alongside Ricky. We'll find out though. Let's get our predictions going. Jacob, looking at you.
Yeah.
Actually, no, wait, I said I'd
I'm looking at you.
Yeah, all right, Halvor. I see what you're doing there. None of us got it right for Immortals versus SK, but this one, yeah. Oh, I see. Now it's really annoying because I see a world. I see a reality where CLG do win this, 100%.
We have had upsets today.
I could see CLG sitting in that semi-final, doing all their homework. I'm a Pet's grinding demos and they're in the grand final. I can see it.
Say it.
All right, fine.
Okay.
Screw it. All right. Hashtag YOLO. I'm going
So is that the reasoning for it as well? Just straight up YOLO?
You only live once, man. You only live once. And genuinely, admittedly, you've pointed out that CLG do have their faults and Gambit aren't on form. I would love to see that upset. And that's more of with the heart than the head. But let's go.
Oh. I'm going to have to go with, well, not my heart.
He's going with that thing up there.
Yeah, no, it's not as fun, but Fnatic,
fair.
On paper, better team. Like everything points in that direction for them. I think that even though they haven't had the greatest record on Train, they still go up against much harder competition than what CLG normally faces on that map. So if anything is going to happen, like it's going to have to be the fact that CLG has figured something out within the last couple of hours on, like if they knew that they were going in towards Train, which is obviously tough to do with the best of one.
Absolutely.
So yeah, no, I think this favors Fnatic.
Yeah, it's the same for me. Like, to me, it's quite simple. CLG are not on the level Cloud9 are right now. They're getting there, but not there yet. And Fnatic were the better team against Cloud9. I know you not always can put it up like that, but Cloud9 and CLG like reminds me a little bit of each other. Like, it's two NA teams. I don't see a world where CLG all of a sudden, like it's only a week ago they played the NA minor. Like, I don't see them raise that high in level, especially after the traveling. So I'm sorry, Machine. It's not gonna happen. It's gonna be.
It's happened before. It's happened before.
Yeah, not today, honey. Not today.
Not hanging out with me. I'll sit alone on the CLG camp and we'll find out if our casters want to join us as well. Let's skip and dance to see what our casters are up to. Hey, yeah.
Hello.
What are you thinking, gangsters?
Man, this is actually really difficult for me because I feel like it comes down to that same thing as always, right? Like, if this player shows up, then maybe CLG have a chance. I feel like if Kusta has a solid performance on Train, they could win this. They could feasibly win this, but I would have to go alongside Fnatic and join Pimp and Vendetta.
No one's willing to come and join me.
Maybe this man is.
I mean, we're in the crowd in Sweden, like in the booth in the middle of all these people. Like, that's fear for my life. I'm just kidding. But no, I think that like CLG has the tools to beat them, but I just think that Fnatic overall, like man for man, might have a bit more firepower in this matchup.
Oh, there's no might about it. There you go. Okay, fine.
Later. Peace. Get wrecked. Who's out of here?
Fair enough. I guess we're about ready to jump into this game then. But yeah, I think we both agree, like Fnatic for me are the better team. Olaf didn't have the greatest performance in the first map and they still got past there fairly comfortably in the end. So you have to feel if he does have a solid performance here, then Fnatic should be in cruise control.
Yeah, I mean, the thing is, like, I know CLG, at least within their region, have very good familiarity on Train. They have a very good record within the Americas on Train. They have the tools, like with Ricky and Kusta and Ethan, like playing really well lately. Like that trio of fraggers, they certainly could pack a huge punch and definitely deal Fnatic some blows. But it's just when you look at the overall lineup of Fnatic, like the experience, the firepower, the success that they've been able to enjoy in the past, like all that really lines up. Now, I will say there has been times where CLG have upset Fnatic on maps. Like that has happened before on different maps and with a little, different lineup. Only like the core of, like Cutler and Finesse really main from those times. But yeah, I mean, I definitely could see this not being as lopsided in Fnatic's favor as people might think. I think it's like a fairly close matchup, but a little bit of favorite for Fnatic, especially with them being on home soil and how sharp some of their players really did look in that C9 game.
Yeah, JW had some pretty huge moments as well, and of course, Train for me isn't Orpa's paradise. Often Orpas will just take over this map and make it their own. So I'm looking at JW and Kusta as the main two here, but we are going to be getting the action underway for the second time, ladies and gents. Fnatic on home soil will be kicking us off on the T side to start things off. CLG will be looking to hold firm on their CT side, and it's just going to be a smoke and a kit for Finesse and a very aggressive push. Already Fnatic are getting right up in the face, up in the grill of CLG, and they're landing some kills where it counts. Dennis should be favourite to take down this kill onto Ricky, who's up in the heaven, but now that he's on the staircase, that's going to ruin his aim. Offmeister comes through with two of his own and maybe having a point to prove. Can he go two better is the question. Fnatic trying to keep their head above water. The pressure, of course, mounting for CLG as the bomb has been planted, but it hasn't been down for that long, so they have time to burn. Finesse with the headshot instantly landing into the dome of Olafmeister, and Crims on the cross, but the Glock is going to try and make this one count. He's able to get one, and also a second through the smoke. A huge clutch from Crims. And Fnatic, it was close, but they get the job done.
That's a pretty interesting mask to be wearing out in the crowd. Good old Dobie. Didn't end well for him, spoiler alert. If you haven't read it by now, then there's still hope for you anyway. But anyway, you know, just kind of chaotic round. Obviously, very fast-paced round from Fnatic. Comes down to a 2-on-2. Krems locks it up in the 1v2 clutch. Really well done there. CLG will buy up. Double scout. It's going to be actually finesse with the other one instead of like being like, you know, Ricky and Kusta. So that's a little bit interesting. As they are going to do a fast inner push into Ethan with this 5-7. He's trying his damnedest to stay alive. Does a lot of damage, but does crumble. And Fnatic, no trouble getting that second round against the force buy.
Now it is the 2 scouts in play. Highlighting again that this map really can be turned on by just a couple of sniper rifles, but of course you're expecting the AWP over the scout to have the most impact, but Ricky is having none of that with the shot into the side of Flush's head. Not able to double his tally in this round as he will go down instantly afterwards, and Finesse is going to have no dice with his scout. As expected, Fnatic with a 2-0 lead.
Yeah, and this third round should come pretty easy as well, given that CLG really shouldn't have anything going into this one. They kind of put the force buy out there. Didn't pan out. Now they have to save for the opening gun round. So the 3-0 start looking very likely for Fnatic. As it is going to be, I think, just USPs. They didn't get anything on the CLG side. They want to save all their money. Not even sparing $300 for a P250.
Okay, could show that they want to prioritize those AWPs as soon as possible.
Yep.
I feel like they will need to get a couple of kills, though, in this round with the USP to bolster up their nades. Otherwise, they're going to leave themselves very bare. Dennis covering his eyes. Flashbang lands in his face. He's peering down into Pop Dog. Second's going to be following it. Olofmeister decides to tank that flash to the face. He doesn't care. Booster, in the meanwhile, is a dead man. And you have to feel the rest of his team will be following shortly. Another 2K for Olofmeister.
Yeah, again, not really too much to talk about in this round. Just a full eco from CLG. Another aggressive push as Olaf even putting in marks to Ethan through the wall there. JW will clean house. So there you have it, 3-0 for Fnatic. But here's what CLG's been saving up for this moment here. Do they want to go straight to double AWP is going to be the question. And the answer is can't really afford to do so. They will even have Ethan on just the FAMAS, actually. And Kusta, he will be the one toting the AWP. This is one map where on Terra's side, Ricky may use it over Kusta, but still, Kusta is the primary, so in situations like this, you want to give him a crack at it. We'll see what Fnatic wants to do. They're actually going 5 rifles, including Dennis still on the Galil. A lot of utility in their hands, looking for heavy inner halls presence early on. Again, chasing down Ethan right away.
He's got a FAMAS, he's going to put down all 3 players. You're expecting him to get traded eventually. But he stands tall with 3, finally falls down. Flusher and Krims trying to come to the rescue of their fallen comrades. I do like that call from Fnatic. It didn't work out, but if you think about it logically, after full USPs, you're expecting at least 1 or potentially 2. That's going to make kits very much a lacking factor on the other team. And if they can get that bomb planted on B quickly, retaking with 2 AWPs potentially is a nightmare. I like the idea, just in practice it didn't work. But they're not out this round just yet, Dust.
Yeah, definitely good analysis there. I think that makes a lot of sense. But as you noted, Ethan, just a great individual effort. 3K spread out with the FAMAS. Just Fnatic not able to get the trade out on him. So now it's just Flusher trying to lurk into the back halls here. Gets taken down by Ricky. And I mean, there's really no hope in this round now for Krims. But you never know with him. Can be quite clutch. He spots 1 victim already. Not able to land the shot, however, and this begins to backpedal, just kind of making sure he's not getting flanked. Doesn't have that much time left, so if he's going to do something, he's got to do it now.
If he's going in, it has to be right here, right now. Absolutely. Just 18 seconds. It's the double whammy, really. 3 players spray down, plus the bomb dropping out into the open. Any kills would have been a nice bonus from there, but CLG will pick up their first round. Fnatic, though, of course, after winning 3 rounds and not losing many players in the first 3 rounds. And you're witnessing Ethan just wrecking and pretty much single-handedly taking the round away from Fnatic. Either way, they will have another buy, including an AWP in the hands of JW. So CLG, they're not out of the woods just yet.
That's correct. They even have the AWP in JW's hands this time as well for a Fnatic. So we'll see him actually stroll over onto Ivy. And Kusta will be in that area, so we might see an AWP-on-AWP duel here in just a second.
Looks like Kusta's having cold feet, second thoughts about it. He is by himself for the time being. I feel like if there's a second player there, he maybe goes for the peek. It He's going in a little bit late with the flashbangs to accompany him. Smoke and Molotov going to try and force him out of position. Decides to take more of an aggressive route, though, as opposed to a passive one.
It's just Fnatic playing a slower default, trying to put action at Ivy, but they're not finding anything. They have a couple players above ladder room as well, so it seems like they want to go for an outer yard split. Olaf could catch Kusta over the smoke. These boosters will be spraying down below him. Kusta just remaining alive, dumping his utilities, slowing Fnatic down as best he can. And in fact, Fnatic are basically pulling out of Ivy other than leaving Olaf behind. Now they're just in their default, really. I mean, you'll see them open this way a lot with the players in their current positions. But they're starting to get down to the last bit of this round, so something will have to give soon. Giving JW one last crack at an op pick before they start looking to explode on this outer bomb site, you'd imagine. But they don't really have a whole lot of utility to do it off of. Just maybe one standard smoke wall on bomb train's all they're really going to have.
Yeah, 4 smokes in their possession. Now for 25 seconds, they've really not tried to make too many inroads. Now finally they're going to start to push through team main. Kusta takes a shot to the kneecap. Will be finished off courtesy of Dennis, who goes in for a second. These entries so vitally important when the time is this scarce. And Finesse is the next player to meet this demise. And again, it's the Grim Reaper of Dennis, who is claiming souls left, right, and center. He may not be done with his murderous rampage just yet. CLG, though, they're piecing out. They don't want any part of this round now. Fnatic, that's a solid pick from them. Olaf's going to go and see if he can maybe take a weapon away from CLG, which would be important. Maybe baited into a full buy here, CLG, if they can hold on to both these. Olaf's going to go down, though, to the hands of Cutler.
Yeah, so just trying to hold on to what they can, but Fnatic is certainly looking to punish. They know the reset's so heavy. If they can get these guns down, CLG will have nothing to work with in the next round, essentially. And so you see Flusha going out there for it. Does find Cutler's gun, so only Ethan will have it. As the crowd has certainly a good bit to be excited about, that Fnatic are off to a good start. Again, this game is to get that first seed, to get that direct spot in the semifinals, to not have to play tomorrow. So that's certainly a big edge. Fnatic are on their way, but still very early. So we'll see what CLG wants to do on a round like this. Looks like they're just going to do an outer stack. All 5 players here, getting aggressive on ladder as well. You got to do something gimmicky in a moment like this. Surround this M4, give it a chance to be recycled, I suppose.
Interestingly, Kusta does pick up a second smoke. I expect maybe if there's some utility to be a flash and try and flash the M4 in to get kills. Ethan's being destroyed by that Molotov and will be finished off with a HE delivered first class from the hands of Dennis. The entry king from the previous round. JW's going to come in with a kill of his own. Gets caught from Ricky, who's at the top of the train. And now Finesse will pick up the M4 and try and spray through the smoke. He's going to be able to get one. It's a 3-on-3, making it 3-on-2. CLG actually have the advantage now. Out of nowhere, the blink of an eye, this round is completely turned around. Keep in mind, though, it's only a sole M4 they have at their disposal, but both of Fnatic have 7 health. This is in the territory of USP or P250.
Oh yeah, this is so scary for Fnatic. Like, there's really no way to describe in words just how dangerous it is for Fnatic right now. I mean, Cutler's P250 doesn't even matter. I mean, that's going to do plenty in a situation like this. Only thing he has to worry about is maybe a bit of aim punch against Flush's AK, but other than that, Fnatic have a lot to worry about. They're trying to send one out Ivy now. It's going to be Dennis looking to see what he can find the AWP, trying to backstab perhaps.
So many angles to watch out for if you're Fnatic as well. This is where it really works against you. It's one of the hardest sites to retake, but very hard to aggress on as well in these kind of close-knit situations. Flusher will get the drop. Oh, he actually misses out on his spraying with only 3 seconds left. He's, well, hoping for the best. And it's not going to happen. CLG have pulled off a miracle play. Only Ethan coming into the round with Kevlar or an M4, and they've managed to somehow, some way get it to stick.
Yeah, it's Finesse. He comes in, grabs that M4 back, grabs this other kill as well onto Olaf. That was the big play right there that got CLG the round, essentially. I mean, yeah, it came down to a 2v2, but Fnatic were just so damaged by that point, and we're running out of time. So well done to CLG. Still a full buy from Fnatic, though. AKs across the board. Don't have the op in JW's hands and a little bit limited on utility, but they'll still open up with their default. Just trying to get control of those inner halls. leave all their options open. Again, kind of just throwing this into the mix now. They're not just a team that relies on playing super loose and just throwing their firepower out there. They can do setups, they can play defaults, they have more established roles. And that's how they want to open up this one, just methodically, but so far not finding anything just yet. It is also true there's been some times even on that Mirage victory against T9 where the clock almost became their worst enemy, so they do have to think about that.
Yeah, that's a good point. Many rounds came down to that last 5 to 10 seconds. So CLG can just get the upper hand in those late round confrontations. Maybe that could be the edge they're looking for. Centralized defense on A. No one's even peering into Ivy at this stage. At some point, that's going to have to start to get in the back of their mind. Someone needs to watch that.
It's crazy to think that Fnatic didn't even like take inner halls control really at this point. They're still just kind of sitting above ladder, but now you see all the utility coming in. So there's some type of set piece in motion now for them. So the smokes begin to pour in. Finesse playing up close though. Some counter is coming in from CLG. I mean, they're getting down to the wire. They're still almost at 25 seconds. They haven't even gotten out anywhere yet.
And the positions from CLG are solid. Finesse is able to work with Ricky to just spray down all the oncoming assailants. Olof is good for one. There's still 4 players to find and only 10 seconds to do it. Fnatic, I've got to say, he's got to get a move on. That's nowhere near enough time to execute onto A. You've got to get entries at that stage. There's so much pressure on you to just carve out entries out of thin air. And Olof may die after the time. He's not quite, though, from Ethan's hands. Maybe someone else is going to be up to the task. No, they aren't. They'll at least hold on to that AK, but Fnatic's far too slow.
It's so weird to see Fnatic coming down in the last 10 seconds in a round, right? Like, I mean, that's something that, like, Na'Vi obviously was very well known for. Even Gambit now with Zeus can do that sometimes. You know, there's a lot of teams that will play default and will play at slow pace, but I mean, it's like they didn't even really create pressure anywhere on the map. Like, I don't think CLG felt Fnatic at all anywhere, whether it be Ivy, inner halls, nothing. Like, they weren't getting utility baited, really. So they just weren't accomplishing anything by playing that slow, other than looking for picks and not finding them because CLG didn't give them the opportunities. And now, on a lower buy, they'll pick up the pace in the outer yard.
But they're doing it with a lack of firepower. Maybe a bomb plant is going to be coming to fruition. Olof is going to give Finesse a free haircut. Takes him down a peg or two, but Ethan is up to the task, and now it's all on Olof. 2 kills already. There's a third. Can he wind back time and become one of the best in the world again? Olofmeister looking for a ridiculous one-tap, but Kusta is able to use the smoke and try and play some mind games. He has a kit as well, and there's still enough time to maybe get a couple more chances, a couple more cracks at the whip here. Olof going to spray through, and Kusta does dispatch of him and has enough time. A valiant attempt by Olofmeister, but just one player too far.
That's crazy, because Kusta peeked his head over that train pretty early on while Olof just continued to spray into the smoke. I'm surprised he didn't see him and at least, like, react or something. He did so well to set up the 1v1. But yeah, it just looks so odd there in the end. And it is going to be a tie game now from CLG thanks to it all. And Fnatic, thanks to the bomb plant, can still put a little bit of a force where they're really making sure they save that money for the next round. Yes, they give themselves a chance to win this round. They give them some options, but it's all about the next round, really. So we have a double Ivy set up here. Finesse kind of in a bait setup with Kusta, who will take the first action, but then Finesse can step out and shock them, perhaps.
Gonna go for it right now. Run boost. Kusta knows what's coming up against him. He also does have the peace of mind that Finesse is watching his back at close range. Finesse has given his position away now, though, and the smokes are going to make it that he has to back away, and that's into the embracing arms of JW. And Kusta couldn't even get the avenging frag because he got mollied out of position.
Big kill for Fnatic. Get the instant 5-on-4. They're just doing the triple Ivy play right now, trying to come up on the Kusta. They take him out as well. This is bad because 2 guns will get collected in. They have the 5-on-3.
And that's a shot you expect Kusta to land as well. He's so good with the flicks. How costly that could prove to be. An area that we haven't really seen Fnatic try and aggress on too many times so far. And JW is going to use the AWP of Kusta against CLG. Cutler goes down next, and what a turn of events this would be. Not only the pistols and Kevlar will dethrone CLG, but can they take it without losing a single player as well? Ethan, the only player left alive.
And now he's just going to try to save, and there's already a player though in there. It's going to be Flusha who's lurking over here to try to find him, but Ethan spots his feet. Able to find the first kill, but there's still plenty more players to try to chase him down. I don't want to chase super hard. definitely want to keep some of these guns up, but actually all 4 are in closing, Ethan.
I think Fnatic have calculated that CLG's economy is in real bad shape.
Right.
So just taking this M4 away from Ethan would be worth its weight in gold, and they've done it. They only lose 1 more player, 2 in total, to the hands of Ethan. That's a great turnaround by Fnatic. And now looking at the economy, I mean, you got Finesse on 4.3k, but everyone else is around the 2k mark. Not great.
That's a cool boost from JW there over the smoke just to get that extra kill. They handled Ivy so well in that round, and now they have the lead. CLG going to be the ones now that have to be on a 4 spot. They've won one of these before. Remember that? That was Finesse who had a big play on one save them 4, but this time they don't even have that. It's all pistols.
Yeah, and that round really pivoted off Ethan's M4 trading hands to Finesse. Now they don't have that assault rifle. C-Nets can still be quite a burden, though, for a terrorist side. So Fnatic is still giving the respect of not going in all guns blazing. Now we're starting to see the mollies land on the site, drawing out the CTs into the open and flush up. We'll dispatch of 3 players in quick succession. That's going to be the bomb planted, and that's going to be Fnatic regaining their winning ways.
And they'll be going up 6-4 now. So after a bit of a recovery there from CLG to tie things up, Fnatic are now back out in front. And it looks like it's going to be another fairly clean round as well. Perhaps not losing a single player, unless Ricky or Ethan collect one here in the final seconds. And so Fnatic are starting to find their groove again.
Again, CLG will be hungry to take one of these assault rifles out the round. Not going to be happening for Ethan, and Ricky is not going to get peeked, actually. Fnatic not going to give anything away, just the CZ save isn't a huge deal. A timeout has been called by CLG. Their funds too around the 3 to 4k mark. I mean, Kusta's got 5k, Finesse on 4.7. But if they did go for a purchase elsewhere, you're looking at UMPs or FAMASs. It's not going to be a great buy.
That is true. So, especially if they want to get a double op at some point in this half, would make sense to take something a bit lighter here to be able to afford that. Especially if you feel like that's like really the change of pace that you can bring to this game to catch Fnatic out to get a second op in. But they won't do it. They're going to go 3 FAMAS on Ricky, Ethan, and Cutler. Kusta will have the AWP, Finesse on the M4, so they get all they can in this round.
That is, however, a grand total of 0 kits.
That certainly could be a key number, and you feel if you lose this one, you're back to saving. So this is certainly a big round for CLG. A very passive inner setup. It's going to be Kusta with the AWP this time, holding inner solo. Ethan, the normal inner player, will actually shift over to help support the outside area. But as the utility begins to come in, we are seeing rotations taking place as Ethan's already back home by Pop Dog. But Fnatic aren't pushing in just yet. They have a couple players Ivy as well, so maybe perhaps just throwing a bit of a fake over here towards inner, and really they can just quickly shift the ladder and split the outer bomb site with 2 players Ivy. Or you could even see some action and try to disturb back halls. I mean, there's a lot of options here for Fnatic with this positioning.
And these are the kind of plays that they weren't really going for before. Before they were very one-dimensional in their B hits. You know, they're running into the Ethan spray. The FAMAS, of course, picked up a triple earlier on in a very similar position to this. JW is going to be the first in, just trying to peer in. Ethan can't see anything just yet, but oh, JW too fast on the trigger. Able to get a pick and relocate. And this is where the duo of Dennis and Olofmeister are going to try and force their way out of Ivy. They're able to get a 1-for-1 trade overall. Or 1-for-2, actually, pardon me, as Finesse comes in to clean up what was started. But it does run enough interference to allow a bomb plant, and JW comes through with another one. He's picked up 2 frags already. Bomb will get planted. CLG in so much trouble after forcing into this round with 3 FAMASs. And now all 3 FAMAS are dead on the floor, and Finesse, all that remains, not for much longer. JW piercing through his skull with the AWP, 7-4 lead.
And that was just big plays by JW. There's really nothing else to describe about that round. That pick he gets on Ethan through the smoke like this, just dropping down. He's at such a disadvantage, yet he still lands the shot, and he follows it up with more later on a full blind Kusta. So just really great work from him. That's going to put his team up to 7, and that's going to put CLG back onto a save so the lead can extend even more. As Cribs will waste no time trying to get out of T-Con, but Kusta actually pops him out with the P250. They could collect that AK.
That's a rough day at the office. P250 triumphing over the AK, not even with Kevlar. JW again with his aggressive peaks, Dennis. Good guy, Dennis. Had the back of JW, who is spinning around in circles, hoping for the best. Down at 25, but not dead just yet. Flusher. Spidey senses were tingling, decides to look behind him. He's going to be able to get one, potentially a second kill. Indeed, he shall. CLG will be hungry to save the AK and the Molotov. So after a flurry of rounds, CLG are now going to be losing 4 on the bounce. You can see that Olaf, who had not the best of maps from his perspective early on today, is now leading the charge 14-6. Great to see.
Yeah, so they're really starting to get a grasp of this half now, and they've had a lot of clean wins, right? Where they've survived with like 4 or 5 players, so their money actually is looking quite strong for the rest of the half as well. They shouldn't really have any trouble spending these next 3 rounds. Meanwhile, CLG, their backs up against the wall at this point. I mean, they'll be able to buy this one, but they'll be right back to saving if it doesn't work. And they will finally get the double AWP out here on the Kusta and Ricky. So this is the ace up the sleeve, so to speak, to try to go ahead and get back into this half.
This is the power play they've been waiting for. Kusta with no Kevlar, however, so it's going to come at the cost. And if this doesn't stick, you have to feel that CLG are in desperation mode. Not just because one of their go-to plays is now off the table, but because they'll be trailing 9-4 on their CT side. But will that be the case? Or will they dig themselves out of this ditch they've found themselves in?
Yeah, I like this a lot better from Fnatic. They're doing a slower default, but look, they've already taken Inner Hall's control, so they're actually doing something with this default. They're getting a grasp of something. They're you know, putting pressure on the site. They're getting utility out of CLG's hands. So this is a lot better than, you know, some of the defaults we saw earlier in the half where it felt like they weren't really accomplishing much. Do see Ethan here still holding that angle over in Inner as usual. He does have Ricky's op and Z peering at the upper as well. And it looks like Fnatic are setting up pretty similar to what they were doing before, where they tried to go for like an inner entry. They had a couple of guys Ivy, and they can really, again, they can shift quickly into an outer split through ladder room with this. I believe they already have a player drop down inside of ladder room, actually. Yeah, it's going to be Dennis. So they still have a lot of options with this setup.
Yeah, seeing plays an Ivy doesn't really tell you anything from CLG's perspective. Well, you know, at that stage, it's not going to be a 5-man push. But it could be Team A, could be Pop Dog, could still be B. That being said, though, originally JW and Olaf were going to be that tag team partnership. JW's moved back, and now Olaf is going to start to push in himself. Time is scarce. Cutler with 1, not a second, not able to transition and spray across. But Kusta's there with the AWP. And again, it's a 1-for-1 trade. These typically will favor the CTs. Or the terrorists, pardon me. I'm saying the CTs because I was watching from Finesse's perspective as he got smashed down by Olaf. Open AK. All that remains in the arsenal of CLG. And if they want to come back into this round, it's going to be grueling. It's going to have to be a grind, and JW's having none of it. Ricky, not far off with his attempt, but it's not close enough. CLG will concede, and now Fnatic, they are in prime position.
Yeah, again, just limiting CLG to 1-for-1 trades. Even though they were playing 4 positions that could have certainly caught Fnatic off guard, they handled it so well with how they traded out of the ladder room, and so they will go ahead and put it to 9-4. Ricky desperately trying to save this AWP, but it's not going to happen. JW on the prowl will take him out, and so CLG come into the final round of the half with just very little to work with. And in fact, in this round, they have to just do an upgraded pistol, buy to save for last. So double digits for Fnatic is certainly looking promising. And again, it's JW who's just been on point this tournament with the AWP.
Dennis with the easier of the entries he can ask for. Ricky trying to get to E-Box, but was just outmaneuvered by a terrorist who have not slowed down. It's pedaled to the floor. No quarter taken, no prisoners taken, and it's a clean sweep to boot. A couple players were low, but Fnatic have already hit their 10-round mark. It will be AWPs, and again, it's the double AWP setup in play for CLG.
Yeah, you can understand why they go to it. It's one of their comforts on this map. It's one of the things that they really enjoy, and that's what Ricky was able to bring to the team, was like another really powerful op they could have alongside Kusta in situations like this. but will it work? It did not pan out the last time. Fnatic have been on a tear here lately on Train. They have a big lead. Will they keep it going? Kusta tries to get aggressive, but JW just continues to light up the scoreboard. He's been so good. Big part of that Mirage win on C9, and he's just been tearing up Train.
When your AWPer is your entry fragger. JW, lightning fast reaction speed. Kusta had every opportunity to land that. He had the positional advantage.
And so now we're finally seeing the other version of this where they actually pressure back halls with these two players to try to split inner that way, but Cutler actually holds him off at CT stairs, so they're still hanging around in this round, but JW starting to let loose here in inner. Can he find more picks will be the question now. As Finesse dances around Pop Dog, trying to come through the smoke for something, but Krim sniffs him out.
Cutler, 1-on-4. Able to get the assassination with the M4A1S. Not a second though. Flusher will lay this half to rest, and well, Fnatic will be delighted with an 11-4 lead, and now they move across to the CT side. Things are only going to get tougher now for CLG.
Yeah, certainly. I mean, don't get me wrong. CLG, again, we talked about it in the pregame, are comfortable on Train, so that means they do have, you know, some ideas about how they want to play T-side. I actually think they have a fairly good playbook as far as like how deep it is, like the different things that they can do, the different options that they have. They're well drilled on it. They're like, again, it's certainly a comfort for them. So it's not out of the question that they would be able to, you know, get rolling on their terrorist side. The problem is if you allow Fnatic a 3-0 start and get to 14, it's such a grind to get back in the game at that point. It might be a bit too much, as it looks like Fnatic are just on good form right now. Even Olaf has looked much better in this map than what we saw on Mirage, and that certainly spells trouble for CLG if you have a Fnatic that, with the lineup that they have, if they're firing on all cylinders, then you're going to have a tough time.
Yeah, this time it's Dennis that's lagging behind, but again, when you have a team where any player feasibly can just step up and run away with it, you're expecting one of them to lag behind. So, CLG, you don't win this pistol, the deck is stacked against you. Pretty standard stuff, nothing that's really catching me out other than Ricky with a deagle, but you see this on T-sides, especially on maps like Train, where there's much more vast open areas. Glock just simply doesn't cut it against USP at that sort of a range. Wow, JW nearly gets tapped down to size. On 15 health now. Crims lining up the nade to bank off the wall. Doesn't do quite as much damage as he's hoping. Gets flashbanged and taken out of the round for the time being. Kusta from the side is able to clothesline one player, not a second one, but he's already picked up two, and that's going to afford them a bomb plant. It's exactly what CLG were looking for, and they just got a whole lot better as Kusta comes good with yet another one. JW, who is dinked down earlier on, is all that remains, but not for too much longer. Kusta with a 4K. Exquisite work, and well, CLG have done it. They pick up the second pistol.
Yeah, flawless victory on that round. It was great that they got early damage on JW Ivy, and the only player that didn't have armor was the one assisting JW. That was Krims over in Hell, so they were able to find kind of the weaker point, I guess you could say, of the Fnatic defense. They were able to get through it, and so they will be able to buy up here. 3 Galeos, a MAC 10, a UMP, but of course Fnatic will get the pistol armor out there, and they can be certainly very scary with these, so not out of the woods yet is CLG, as it looks like they want to do something at ladder room here. They do already have Kusta pushed down with the MAC 10. Cutler going to get the entry, though, out of T-Con. Quickly traded by Krims, but he's staying alive. Maybe even finds a second. No, not the case. So it looks like CLG have wrapped this one up.
And even though JW is able to get himself all the way around the back of CLG, there's not really anyone that he can build off at this stage. And pick up the Glil, you know, he's a very aggressive player. Likes to get in amongst the frags. He may be able to deny the bomb plant. Indeed, he shall, just for a few more seconds. Finesse will dispatch of JW. Unfortunately, got pretty close to the P250 engagement, but not close enough. CLG moves to a 6th.
So there you have it. They should be gifted with what should be mostly a free round here, as Fnatic should be on the full save. They do get one P250 on JW, but that's going to be it. And so that 7th round is looking pretty good for CLG, so they'll keep this one close. Unless there's some shenanigans here from Fnatic side.
Oh, Krims couldn't see a single thing from beginning till end. Double kills go the way of CLG. And Kusta, who went for the AWP already, may not even be required to rattle off a single shot. As his SMG wielders are getting up into the face of Fnatic. 2 players on B, 1 in connector. JW close range, not able to make anything stick, leaving Flusher. he tries a shank, but it's not going to work on this time. I like the idea though. And why not, right? You're going to probably do more damage with a knife out than a USP, that kind of range anyway. And you have the added bonus of, well, if I get a kill, I get a nice little juicy bonus.
Yeah, fair enough. So we'll see what CLG is going to do here on their opening gun round. From what I've seen, they really like to get control of ladder room, like a lot. Like they put a lot of focus on it. They use it to split outer. They use it just to create pressure. So I definitely see them putting a focus on that quite a lot. Sometimes even 2 players out in ladder room. So that's kind of one of the things that I noticed them do quite often. It will be Kusta with the AWP. Looking for picks out T-Con here. He's going to be met up with a ladder room split as well. And he gets the opening pick. Ricky chiming in also.
Fantastic start again by CLG. 2 opening picks. Dennis is able to bring it back closer to even, and will do just that with his second as he connects the headshot. Now down to just 4 players left, 2 on either side. Dennis and Flusher have both been chipped away on their health. Kusta still very healthy. Finesse down to 61. Only a HE and a flash between the 2 teams, and it both falls on CLG's side. Flusher's going to try and dart his way through the smoke, but Finesse is there to catch him with the UMP, leaving Dennis. Very close. Landing a couple of shots, but Kusta's there with the AWP. Doesn't quite stick for Fnatic, and this has been a roller coaster of a second half for them. That's 4 rounds unanswered, and they're back into another eco.
Yeah, I mean, CLG are already on the heels of Fnatic, and Fnatic even had to take a low buy in this round, so a chance for 9 for CLG is going to be pretty good, as Fnatic can't really quite contest them just yet. They have to get their economy in order. And so we'll see what CLG wants to do here. As again, they like to do these outer splits and like to do the ladder room stuff, so I wouldn't be surprised if they just kind of keep that up and around like this one, as they are putting some pressure at inner halls against Olaf, who is being aggressive with the CZ.
Kind of forced into aggression when you just have pistols, and the way that CLG have been playing, not going to work out. They still have 2 deagles, make that just the 1. Flusher, the player, to own it. But he is now very much a lonely man. Deagle's not going to do anything. CLG with another solid round, and not only are they picking up rounds, but then they're giving no kills across the Fnatic. So even when they are getting these full purchases, you're seeing the likes of Olaf now, who's gone for a second AWP. He only has a HE, JW, HE, and Smoke, so lacking on flashbangs.
Yeah, meanwhile, CLG post buys a couple players still in 5-digit cash. I mean, they're going to be looking pretty for a while. It's going to take Fnatic a lot of rounds in a row to finally put CLG into some type of eco. So the pressure is certainly building against Fnatic right now, as we are going to see CLG opening up with a little bit of a triple Ivy pressure. Just their main 3 going to be the part of it. Kusta, Ricky, and Ethan. So far an even exchange here.
Great reaction speed shown by JW there with his flick. He's getting slightly tagged up from the Molotov. Feet getting nice and toasty. Only 18 health has escaped him. So both Hawpers chiming in for kills to start things off here in this round. Again, that should spread Fnatic quite thin, especially over on the B side of the map where Flusher currently resides by himself. He has no one to help him out here. That's one of the reasons why Dennis is going for this aggressive play, and he's landed the kill, smoking his way out. That's a huge pit for Fnatic. They desperately needed that.
Yeah, now this sets up a quick flank for them as a potential option here for Dennis. They have the ability to commit to enter as well. And they are winning out most of these duels. Only Ethan now left in a 1 versus 3 with the bomb. He's got time, but he's being flanked. He's got to worry about so many different things. He's been shot at as well, trying to escape back up. Tries to do a bit of a pump fake here, but gets caught by Flusher, who's waiting by the bomb train. So they do put that 12th round up there. But again, it's not going to get easier from here because another full buy is right on the way for CLG. But luckily, they pretty much saved everything they had. They only lost 1 player that round, I believe.
Yep, I think it was just Olaf that fell. As you say, Fnatic have broken the curse of the CT side, but they can't afford to go on reverse now. It has to be shifting through the gears. There has to be progression forward towards that elusive 16 round mark. Flusher. Again, as ever, by himself, and I wonder at what point CLG try and turn the screws over on the B side and really put pressure on him. There's going to be some utility expended. Now the rotation coming through will be Olof to join Flusher.
Well, you asked for it, and it looks like you're about to get it. CLG gathering up in the inner halls with all their utility looking to pounce any moment now. Just Kusta kind of lag behind with the AWP, but Ethan looking to be the front man here as that smoke comes up on the lower ramp. Look at this fast flank that Fnatic will have on ladder room, though.
The Incendiary as well does buy a little bit of time as well for it to play off. Olof nearly with 2, but instead it's CLG who pick up 2 for themselves. JW not able to have the impact until the rest of his team rush together, and they're not going to go for the pop dog rotation either. They've given up on that now. So it's going to be a one-dimensional take from the back of the site, coming through connector and CT side. They have the utility, and they do have a couple of kits, and Dennis is going to be able to thread a headshot. So vitally important for Fnatic's chances of a retake. This could bait them into it. Very passive positions have been assumed, and Dennis is able to get the drop onto Finesse. It was a labored attempt, but it's going to get the kill all the same. And this is where that Molotov is going to completely decimate onto Fnatic. I'm not sure they have enough time here, and Crims did go for the defuse, but he burnt out. They used the smoke too early, and the bomb will detonate. JW will save alongside Cutler. Let CLG pick up a 10th.
Yeah, again, it's just keeping inside the inner halls and having that checkmate incendiary or Molotov that can just stop you from being able to defuse is really what that kind of boiled down to, as Fnatic were certainly posing a threat. They were getting some good kills despite, I think they were retaking into a 3-on-4. They were really evening it up, and they were starting to look like they might just have it, but lose off of that, and now they do have to take another save. So CLG creeping even closer down around like this one, you'd imagine, as again they will open up fairly slow in default here. A little bit of extra focus over towards Ivy, but not too much. Just Kusta's AWP being added next to Ricky, who normally plays this spot on default. Olof trying to get aggressive here towards T-Con. Does spot Finesse. Getting chased down, but he's not taken out just yet. And in fact, he baits it into JW's AWP.
So smart by Olof there. He knew that in a straight trade he's going to lose. Instead, just outthinking. On the other side of that, though, Finesse shouldn't be falling for that. You shouldn't be going out into the open when you know JW saved an AWP. That is a recipe for disaster, and now that gives Fnatic an extra weapon. Sure, Crims doesn't have Kevlar, but that one-tap potential is always on the cards. Olof has gone down. He was already weakened by Finesse, so in terms of expendable players, he's probably at the top of the list in that situation. There is a boost over. What we saw JW actually do this on the other side of the coin when they were aggressing Fnatic. He's been flashed so many times, he just has to turn tail and run back to the site. So CLG and Credit lose the first player, but they are recovering nicely. Does JW have a miraculous clutch in him? We know he's capable of big plays. When a flash and an AK round hits you plumb in the head, there's not much you can do about it. Now Flash's USP remains. Excellent crosshair placement, but aim punch always going to be an issue.
Yes, I mean, while it started off interesting thanks to JW's AWP pick, CLG did not let it spiral out of control. They were quick to grab it right back. Now they have an 11th round. They're just one away from tying this thing back up, and Fnatic again don't really have the money to put a buy into this round. A couple of their players did, but they have to even it out. And so that means CLG are gifted a great chance to go ahead and tie this game here and now, and they had the double op set up in effect, as Ricky will get the second one over towards T-Con, as Kusta seems to be bringing his over towards inner halls. Ethan, the first to draw blood, though, onto Flushy, who tried to get antsy. So at least inner open for just a brief moment. Now it's just everyone rotating over there. And in fact, JW's on a flank, so this is going to get maybe a little bit dicey.
Oh, Finesse recovers. Looked like he was going to be a dead man at first. He was switching weapons. It's that age-old issue. But recover he shall. And now Fnatic have Dennis, Olof, and Crims with Kevlar between them. Also an incendiary in the hands of Olof. And he's going to be using that in Pop Dog. It's going to be a bit too deep, though. It's not going to bother the player that's close range, and that's going to be Ethan, who's able to scamper away relatively undeterred. Olof gets picked off from Kusta. That should be the beginning of the end for this round. So it looks like we are going to be tied up at 12 apiece. CLG, after a very disappointing first half, they're right back in this game, Dust. We are going to be neck and neck.
Indeed we are. And they'll keep that double AWP in effect, and that's great. Now that Fnatic know that's what they're up against, you may expect them to realize that CLG are probably going to have to play a lot slower pace because they want to give time for those AWPs to try to ring out. It's not like CLG can go for a lot of fast-paced executes when you're running two AWPs like that. So that may at least give Fnatic a bit of a read on how they should handle these next rounds once they get guns back in their hands. Which should be in this next round.
Yeah. They've got round loss bonus coming up. They have 2 to 3k on most of their players, so it should be another bite. Just depends really for me whether it's going to be 1 or 2 AWPs. Grim's not going to be taking anybody down in the process. Dennis will save a deagle. So JW has 6.2k, he can afford an AWP, no issues. The rest of the teams will be coming through with M4s. So a pretty standard buy. The only thing standing out here though is there's going to be a Mag 7 instead of an M4, and JW is going to be wielding this, so this must be off spawn. Olof's going to be, yeah, he had the best spawn, he's going to be pushing straight in. Olof instead picks up the AWP.
Yeah, looking to contest inside the ladder room, maybe has that idea that CLG like to work it, which is certainly the truth. So we are going to see Kusta making his way over here with the AWP. Just holding out for mostly for inner halls push, and it seems like CLG's putting a lot of focus on these inner halls right now. No one really anywhere else except for Ricky, who has a second AWP and T-Con. Just a solo defender here inside Flusha with the M4. How much time can he buy for that rotate? It's going to be the question.
I'm sure we'll find out the answer to that very shortly as terrorists are poised to push. And here we have it, Flusha with one headshot. He's going to pick up so much time for his team. He's looking for a second. Very unfortunate not to land that on Kusta. And JW now around the backside is going to be able to get 1 kill with a Max 7. Flush is going to come through with a second, and JW is going to miss, but the information's on point now for Fnatic, and it's just Cutler. Last seen on the site. How much damage can he do on his way out? Does he have it within him to take down any more players? Yes, he does, and he's able to actually reload his AK as well. How is he still alive in this round for that long? I have no idea. But Fnatic will finally find their man and regain the lead once more.
Yeah, just really well handled by Flusha inside that inner bomb site. Not only getting 2 kills, but just buying so much time for JW's flank to set in, for the rest of the personnel of the team to get into place to help lock that one up. And they will be able to get a double op of their own now, as it will be Olaf and JW against a double op of CLG, who will reinvest into it right away. So again, you expect maybe a bit of a slow approach to start, just to try to let those ops go to work, as Kusta will be over towards Ivy with his. Ricky playing over towards the inner halls. Flash will push JW off from holding the angle.
As a result, that forces JW's hand to smoke, so we can actually peer towards teammate instead. And now, Kusta wasn't far off landing that shot. It's somewhat of a stalemate at this stage. Now Kusta has to turn tail and run away. He's going to chunk down to 63. But when you look at the utility, there's a massive discrepancy between the two teams. Fnatic are looking bare compared to CLG.
That's certainly true. There's a lot of Molotovs and smokes in place here for CLG. Plenty of flashes to back it up as well. So they have their options open on doing some type of outer split and having utility that they could want to even it up, as Ethan trying to dance around, try to change up maybe what they think the timing is on him getting out, but it doesn't matter because Krim still puts him in his place. And so they have the 5-on-4 advantage here as we get into the mid-round. JW, though, tries to re-peek Ivy. He's going to pay for it thanks to Kusta, and this will allow them a route into this outer bomb site now for CLG as they get that smoke to block off back Hall's vision.
That's one moment where aggression really wasn't required. I mean, there was only 35 seconds when he died there, JW. Holding the position would have really helped his team a lot more. Now it opened up a gateway for CLG to try and exploit through on the Ivy side. Olaf is going to come back with a kill alongside Dennis. Maybe they were able to resuscitate this round that was looking to slip away. Ricky, 1-on-2 scenario, 10 seconds in which he has to try and not only get the bomb but also kills, and he realized it's not going to happen. Better to hold on to the AWP. Don't do this to me, Ricky. Don't you dare have a shot through that wall. We've already seen Nifty pull off ridiculous wall bangs. Obviously not this tournament, should be mentioned. We were casting to Everlast Dust.
Indeed. As it is going to be 14 now for Fnatic. Double op coming right back, though, for CLG. They are not shying away from that. They really want to try to get those two out there and finding picks. Kusta did get one on JW at Ivy in the last round, but the rest of Fnatic played it really well, and so they extend that lead just a bit more. One away now from Matt Point. So we are going to see CLG again just quickly getting down ladder. Again, maybe looking for some type of outer split here. Beating the utility actually out will take down Crims. just catching a sick timing on that smoke grenade, but Olaf responds right back.
That's a solid Molotov, though. It keeps him at bay. But they didn't factor in Dennis. Dennis left out the equation and will be removed from it entirely now by Kusta, but JW in the meanwhile is going to put his AWP to use. They maintain the player advantage, make that a 2-player now as Cutler eyes up the apocalypse potentially. And to make matters worse, he's got 46 health. There's the first. A lot of time to play with. Over a minute as he lands that first kill. Did he just hear a bit of noise? In Pop Dog, he may very well have done so, but Olaf only needed 16 health to pounce. 3 map points. And Fnatic looking to do the double over the Americans at 16-12.
Yeah, I mean, it was really close there for a bit, but Fnatic have been able to win the last few rounds in a row, and that now puts them at map point. 1 round away from locking up a semi-final spot and not having to play tomorrow alongside Immortals, who, of course, had that shocker against SK in the previous game. Double auto shotgun for Fnatic.
Why not?
Not something you see every day, that's for sure. As Crims will take his over in the ladder room. JW looking to push Ivy with his, so they're looking to just get this over with and do it with style, perhaps. But JW does get eradicated.
1 XM down, 1 to go. Well, I say 1 to go. Kusta's picked up 1 for himself. He is keeping that 1 XM in play, as Crims has also fallen. Oh, Flash is going to get caught as he switches across to the nade. CLG not out of this just yet. A second gust of wind. Breathe new life into CLG. Olaf, 1 on 5. Good luck to you, sir. There's the first. Will he get any more for his troubles? Not far off landing the second, but Kusta flanking around the back will lay him down. 15 to 13, and Fnatic's economy is in tatters. CLG, they could very well take us the distance.
Oh, they definitely could. I mean, their money is starting to get in proper order. Meanwhile, Fnatic are getting what they can here. They still have an AWP in Olaf's hands. They're going to get upgraded pistols across the board, except for Dennis, who actually has the Nova. So the shotguns will make a reappearance for Fnatic, but they're certainly running out of room to close out this game. CLG certainly could force extra rounds, as we are going to see another early skirmish at Ivy, perhaps. JW with just the P250. Trying to hold the close angle, no one even baiting for him. He just has to rely on pure individual aim.
So you've seen all the shotgun family apart from the sawn-off. Will Dennis put anyone out with the Nova? Farm himself some kills. I'm so curious to see if he gets
these timings, man.
But the timing, yeah, completely timed out the position there. Flush is going to look to try and pop his way through the smoke, but there's a couple bullets to greet him. On the other side, Olaf still retains his AWP. Crims gets the kill before burning alive. And with the funds as they currently reside, Olaf may have an idea or two about saving. Actually, he decides to join his teammate instead. So Flusher and Olaf going to try and make it work from the Ivy side. Olaf peering onto the site, will land onto Ricky. Going to trade. I think the idea there was to throw across the USP because Flush had simply run out of bullets with his CZ.
Right. Give him something to work with while this op repositions, but it's actually going to be saved. They know that they don't really have a way to get this. They don't have the kit. They don't really have a lot of time. They're down a man. Money is limited. This is definitely their best option here, and so it will be 14 for CLG, and Fnatic will not have a whole lot. I mean, they'll save this AWP, and that's really about it. Flusher trying to take down someone on the way out, but this is definitely CLG, so we might see another overtime this tournament. We had one earlier. CLG was actually the one that was a part of it. They're the victors in it against Gambit on overpass.
Dual purpose there for Flusher as well. As he threw away his CZ, he knew he had nothing to lose in that round. He's trying to tag the player, either kill him or tag him low enough that the bomb would finish him off afterwards. I like the idea. He was close, but not quite close enough. And now Fnatic going through into the 30th round. It is bare bones stuff. They do have a fair amount of utility, more than I was expecting, but it's more the firepower that's the issue now.
Yeah, mostly just relying on that AWP of Olaf as well as the UMP of Dennis. CZs can certainly be scary in close range situations, though, no doubt about it. We are seeing CLG gathering up in inner halls. Fnatic looking for an aggressive push in the T-Con. They'll be able to do it successfully. Gives them a little bit of information.
Now, however, do not push through the back. Instead, they're going to congregate and go into Pop Dog. JW, CZ, flashbang. He's going to do half the work for him. That nade has damage written all over it, but actually disappointing amounts in the end. Flusha may think that that chunked a whole bunch of players down. Kusta from the train is going to dispatch of all off, and Flusha's going to be trying to come round, but good guy Kusta has his teammates back, and he's going to go to town with a 4K. He could be on for the ace. Dennis may try and spoil the fun here, but Ricky is the man to finish off regulation. We are moving to overtime, to the second time today. Fnatic, considering they had the first half in the palm of their hands, they'll be bitterly disappointed we've reached this stage.
Yeah, this was just all Kusta. He gets the key frag on the Olaf. That was big. That was the one gun, really, that they had that they can use, and then catching this to make sure the bomb plant would go down and there would be no shenanigans. Definitely great work there by him. He is putting up some pretty big numbers this game. Definitely top fragging for his team. The rest have a pretty tight grouping in frag distribution, actually. And of course, the Olaf, JW, and Flusha on Fnatic are having quite the game on their end, but it is going to take extra rounds. Again, CLG was in an overtime against Game with an overpass, and they won that. Now they have to go up against the hometown crowd in Fnatic.
Thus, that is a heavy investment. First round of CT side of overtime. 2 AWPs and an auto sniper.
Yeah, especially since we're playing MR3 10K, right?
Absolutely.
So
this is going to leave them pretty bare if they lose this round. That's a lot of firepower, though, of course, and with JW, he's there for the first.
Yeah, so he hasn't really had a whole lot of opening picks like that early on at Ivy, so this time around he finally comes up with one, and that could be a difference maker for Fnatic. So we'll still leave Finesse over here over towards Ivy, but Ethan will work his way back over towards the connector. As CLG now have to kind of consider what do they want to go to in a man disadvantage situation. So they want to start gathering up here with that bomb over towards T connector. It'll be Cutler and Ethan to move that direction. They will have Ethan coming down ladder room, so trying to go for an outer split seems to be the thought process.
Nothing out of the ordinary from either team here. It's pretty standard, pretty much what you'd expect. The only thing that will be a reoccurring issue from here on out is that CLG don't have a huge amount of time to play with. Crims is going to come out worse for her in that trade. An important pick, and Dennis gets tagged up through the wall of heaven. He has to just get the hell out of there with his auto sniper. JW is going to go down next. This is looking way better for CLG. Out of nowhere, seemingly, they're actually making a real case for taking this round and making it their own. The nade, the backside of the site, wrong side as far as Fnatic is concerned. It's not going to stop the bomb plant. Now Flusha's going to have to try and use that train to his advantage. Down he will fall. Dennis with a close range auto sniper switches weapons and dies. And considering that the first kill went the way of Fnatic, everything was looking rosy, CLG have punished them.
Yeah, they just form up into an outer split, and look at Kusta just continue to go to work with this AWP. Some big kills to open things up. And then around it looked like Fnatic was doing to do great, like you said. It doesn't pan out, and that hurts them so much money-wise. You see JW's already on a max, so they're trying to make some of that back here in the second round of the OT. And if they lose this, they will have very little to work with in the final round. So a lot gained here by CLG by closing out that round, despite being in an early 4-on-5.
JW got into Pop Dog very quickly. Isn't going to find anyone now for the time being. Holding the angle still. Bulk of the terrorist engagement will be found on Ivy. A couple flashes have already been tossed out. No one's there for Fnatic though. Instead, they are going for more of a T-main push. Now, surely Olafmeister at this stage is watching Ivy. There we go. I was going to say from his position, I wasn't sure. But seeing as no one is there, he has to be very cognizant of the fact that the side of the map is ripe for the taking, and CLG are obliging. They're pushing through the bomb as well. They're getting around the back. There's a smoke accompanying the push as well, so now Dennis is going to try and rummage his way. Try and stop this. They're getting all the way around the back of the B side, though.
It's all about the mind games in overtime, bringing out something new and different, but Olaf, he kind of smells it. He's going to be able to get that first off shot, but it's quickly traded, and so the inner split's still on.
What a shot that was as well, into the head of all things, but as you say, it's a 1-4 trade. Overall, CLG is still in great shape, but Flush is going to come through with another kill. He doesn't expect a player to be behind him. And Kusta also goes in for one alongside Ricky, so both AWPers are doing their job. This is where the Max 7 is honestly not too great. And JW,
oh man,
there's egg all over his face. That is rough, because it's not only is it rough in terms of not getting a kill you really should, but that would have been the bomb dropped out in a horrible place for the terrorists.
I think Finesse's expression said it all there. You can all read those lips. It's 17-15 now for CLG. That's a big round win. Again, it's bringing out something new and different, something your opponent hasn't seen yet. Triple op for Fnatic in the final round of this OT. Interesting. I guess if double op auto sniper doesn't work, certainly triple op will. We'll see how it pans out.
I mean, I can kind of understand Fnatic's thought process, because honestly, CLG haven't gone for that many fast, explosive set plays. You haven't really seen them just start out onto a site instantly. It's been more slow and steady wins the race. And that's where AWPs on the CT side can really pay for themselves. And Flusher did pick up one. Kusta's there to return fire. And again, and seeing as Flusher's by himself on the site, that is a free bomb to plant on. There's going to have to be some utility to proceed the push through connector. Otherwise, Kusta's going to have a field day. Hence the smoke that's been placed down. Cutler's going to use that, though, to get up close and personal with the CTs. CLG on the brink. Oh, JW, that is cheeky. Kusta's going to answer back, but CLG on the brink of taking a clean sweep on this first half of overtime. Olaf is going to come back with one of his own, though, trying to keep the dream alive. They do have a kit, but they have a lack of nades at this stage, and there's a Molotov in the hands of Finesse. This could be all they require. It's going to fire onto the site. There's no smoke to extinguish it either. Finesse may have just won the round. They're going to have to push him. There's one, and Finesse is going to be taking this one down in style in the end. One Molotov was all that was required. JW sick to his stomach. CLG 3-0 on this half.
The GG Molotov, man, and it's a clean sweep for CLG in this overtime half. So well played, bringing out new stuff when it was required. Players continuing to pop off when they needed to, particularly Kusta with the AWP. And then Finesse just clutching it up here in the end. The leader leading by example. Puts that one through, and so CLG are in prime position to take this. And my mistake, it's actually MR316K, so I was wrong, and that's why they were able to afford a triple op. I knew something was weird that they were able to afford triple op in that last round, so it is MR316K, so no economic risk, I guess, in overtime is the point.
Well, certainly nowhere near as much, because typically, if you're on 10K, you're not picking auto sniper and 2 AWPs.
Yeah. Now it makes a lot more sense. Didn't have that information before, sorry about that. As we'll see if CLG can put the finishing touches on this map, and wouldn't that be crazy? It's Immortals and CLG taking the first seeds out of groups. I don't think anyone would have picked either of them to be the first seed out of their respective groups. So, would be a pretty neat opening day here for DreamHack Summer if it continues on. But Dennis has something else to say about it. So does Olaf as they get the quick entries on this round all across the map. They're well on their way to a 16th round now.
Yeah, Fnatic aren't done with Train just yet. They have a couple more swings in them. They've been pushed against the ropes. Not gonna go down without a fight. Ricky. Any kills would be a bonus at this stage. Maybe just set up for some extra frags. CLG still have 2 more match points. Because this round is over. There is simply no way Ricky clutches this.
Yeah, this one is certainly in the books.
Nice shot.
Might as well save in style, I guess, but Dennis not going to allow that much further, and so that will be around on the board for Fnatic. So they will survive for now. Again, trying to defend home turf here in Sweden. All they can hope for, though, is just forcing another overtime, and they have to win out these 2 rounds to do just that.
After taking an 11-4 first half performance on their T side, way back in regulation. Goes to show how much of a bitter pill to swallow this would be for Fnatic if they were to concede from this point.
Yeah, such a bold statement from CLG to win out the first half of OT. But with that win, Fnatic are still just a couple of steps away from keeping this one going. We haven't had a double overtime yet. As Fnatic taking their time just to get control of inner halls and start putting some pressure over here. Ricky, though, is going to find blood onto Dennis. Was that a spam of some sort? Or?
No, I think Dennis was out towards E-Bot.
Oh, okay.
Which is surprising considering the rest of his team are fairly passive right now. Maybe just trying his hand at a sneaky ninja play.
I suppose so. Pays for it, though, with his life, and hard to suffer something like that when you're in a situation like this. JW trying to see if he can bring it back in.
It's a swing and a miss, and a couple of them. Now it's him that's out by himself. He needs some backup, needs some help. And there is a dunk nade from Finesse, slammed onto the forehead of JW. Is this the beginning of the end? Flusher, again, coming up clutch with a huge kill. An impactful frag that gives them a lifeline. It's brief, but can they capitalize on it? They need to convert. Olof can hear players to his right-hand side. He's going to come through with 2. Is there going to be any more in his back pocket? Yes, there is. All headshots all day, all Olof.
Unreal.
Fnatic, they live to fight another day, it would seem.
It seems so. That round looked like it was CLG's. They looked like they all but clinched that first seed. They were doing so well early on with Ricky and Finesse, but Flusha and particularly Olofmeister, just huge plays. And so this will go at least one more round.
31 kills. A huge step up from that previous performance on Mirage against Cloud9. To be fair to him, wasn't really required to frag hugely. This map he has. And he stood up when it's been counted. Kusta on 33. Ethan not going to attempt a defuse. Instead, he will back away. Fnatic have saved 2 match points. They're going to have to go one better. And I believe one of the players actually just died on the bomb as well. But it doesn't really matter. They've got so much money to burn. Not going to be an issue. Ricky, in the meanwhile, he has 4.1k. That could be a bit of a concern.
So will it be the clean sweep responded by another clean sweep will be the question. To force the second OT, that would certainly be something. But it is still double lot for CLG in this round on Ricky and Kusta against the single of JW. Let's see what the adjustments are going to be. Again, Fnatic looking to try to get Dennis out of T-Con a little bit faster, but he gets flashed off, and now JW's just posted for a pick. Meanwhile, Krem's trying to get some action going here inside the inner halls alongside Flusha. So just same default, same just map control setup from Fnatic, looking to see if they can get a pick. This time around, CLG not really giving them any opportunities. Also, Ethan playing a new spot. He's been typically just playing lower ramp straight up and taking fights, but this time he's going to be playing coils.
This map so far has been incredibly T dominant. Keep in mind that both teams picked up 11 rounds on their T side in regulation. And are we going to see both teams pick up 3 here in overtime? Ricky again, similar start to the last round where CLG pick up an AWP frag to start things off.
And you can see Fnatic are starting to get bogged down. They've given up on inner halls. They're trying to bring that bomb back around over here towards T-Con. Perhaps try to split this outer bomb site once more. They still have Olofmeister here over at Ivy, but he hasn't been able to find anything just yet. Starting to spin some of that utility, but they're actually running out. Only Dennis really has a nade set left, and he's also the one carrying the AWP right now. As JW went down, Olof comes out Ivy, gets a kill. Can he be the hero again? His hat trick in the previous round was so massive to keep his team alive. Is he going to find more? Yes.
CLG, you can't afford to let 2 rounds like this go begging. Kusta seems to be up to the task, and if he snapped around and took Olof out, that could have been the moment. That could have been the very second that they took this map and made it their own. Instead, Fnatic will be firing back after another player deficit. Ethan up against him is a 1-on-3. Will be picking up the first, Dennis and Olof. A weakened Olof at that. He's only on 8 health. I've got to try and make this stick. And Ethan's going to go down. Fnatic are using up more of their lives. 18-18, second overtime, here we come.
More and more rounds, and this game's so intense now. The race to 22 is what we're looking for now. 21-21 means a triple OT. Again, MR3 16K, so economy, not too much of a factor. Means you can really just go all out, make all the big purchases you want, and just throw everything you have at your opponent. And like you noted, it's been the T sides that have been so big in regulation and in overtime. Clean sweeps in OT for both teams. And of course, 11 rounds for each in regulation. And so still really hard to tell who's actually in the driver's seat at this point. Like, who has the edge? I mean, at certain points, one team thought for sure they were going to close only to get rattled. It was Fnatic and Regulation who felt that way. And after that overtime, you got to think CLG thought they had it, but here we are.
Yep. And quite simply put, both teams are 14-4 on their T-halves. So any CT rounds you can pick up, almost worth double at this stage. That's what they're battling for.
Yeah, both teams have really just been playing slow and trying to grind it out for the most part. You haven't seen a whole heck of a lot of fast-paced attacks actually in this game. Mostly due to the double op, you have to imagine, has been the big reason for that, is trying to give them chances to find picks. And it's kind of crazy how often we're seeing double op on T side these days. I mean, it was G2 who really was doing it big time this year. Immortal started doing it with KNG's pickup, and now with Ricky being on CLG, you see them having it. And Fnatic, of course, were always able to pass the AWP around pretty much their entire lineup, and so they're really keeping up to that. You have to wonder if maybe you have to break off of it, though, and go for something a bit different, because to be fair, though, everyone's winning their T round, so why change it?
But maybe this is where you do throw in a fast B execute from a T's perspective. You try and just charge up in the face of CLG if you're Fnatic at this stage.
I mean, you saw CLG do the back halls push, right, to inner split, so they're trying to throw something different in there, but Fnatic are keeping up with what works. They have Dennis outer alone. Everyone else gathered up in inner hall, so he's trying to create pressure, trying to hold people in place, prevent a rotate from being possible.
Ethan dispatches the flusher in midair, but elsewhere, CLG are getting the work done. Olof darting to the site, misses out on his chance, and that will cost him his life. And we were discussing before about just how important CT rounds were in this overtime, and CLG have picked up the first in either overtime.
Yeah, you got to think that they're a hot commodity right now to get CT rounds in this game, and CLG do put one through. So, again, they'll start off in overtime half with an advantage. Can they keep it up? Will be Fnatic on the solo op this time. Just JW, Olof will have a rifle in his hands. Curious to see what Fnatic will want to do now. Looks pretty much the same.
Oh, that's going to cost Ricky quite a bit of his health. Let's see what he is going for. Hoping that the players assume that Molotov was a brick wall. And he has picked up a kill, but he gets traded out instantly afterwards. And Dennis, again, almost a carbon copy of how he came in the last round. Straight through into E-Box. Cutler's up there, but so is JW. The trade's going back and forth. The bomb still dropped out, though, in Team A. Oh, JW is going to be ruining that missed opportunity.
No harm, no foul, though. He's still alive, and there's still a good amount of time on the clock. It's just starting to tick to the 1 minute mark, so plenty of room. Ooh. Playing a little bit of whack-a-mole with Kusta over here, but Kusta's not going to be able to find the opportunity as Olof trying to creep through Ivy, but that incendiary will slow him down. It looks like they do want to split out or 3 ways, but they're just not finding their shots. And Ethan will mark his instead.
Well, the bullet didn't kill him. He definitely broke his neck on the way down. And now Crim's in a 1-on-3. He's picked up 2 of them, and I think he did just catch a glimpse of Fineste's shoulder. Looking for the tap onto the head. It's been a labor attempt, but Crims has got it done. A 4K and a 1v3 clutch. Could that be the moment where Fnatic salvage this? Because had they not have got the kill, CLG would have taken a 2-0 lead in this overtime. And they're looking terrible for Fnatic.
Yeah, you just give Crims a chance, and he will clutch it. I mean, they're just taking these fights. He's happy to take them. That's his best chance to win, as the bomb was down behind him. So it's evened up now, 19-19. Double op still out here for CLG. They're going to try to get a little bit aggressive at Ivy, it looks like, this time around. Finesse will press up, and they're going to boost Kusta over. Try to get something for free with this CZ, but no one peeking just yet. Olof playing it pretty far back. But now we'll start making his way forward, just as CLG begin to draw back into the halls.
Olof keeping both Finesse and Kusta interested over on Ivy. Kusta has his sights set elsewhere onto team main. Ricky, the other upper, looking onto Catwalk. Olof is doing a solid job of keeping Finesse on his tiptoes over on this side of the map. It's just him. He's made so many movements, so many footsteps that they can't afford to turn their back on it, but now Cutler and Kusta both come in for kills. Olof is out of there. Ivy's no longer a concern of his. He needs to join the rest of his team. This is looking great for CLG, though.
Yeah, it certainly is. They're killing a lot of clock now. They have a huge numbers advantage, but Flusha is starting the fight back. He's taking out Cutler here over towards E-Box, and they're all moving towards Outer, but Kusta posted up with the AWP, but JW puts it between his eyes. And so now it's a 2-on-3. It's still winnable for Fnatic. CLG do maintain the advantage, but the bomb looks like it should get planted, but Olaf using it as a fake, trying to lure someone out, but no one's going to do it. But Olaf still finds the kill no matter what, so it's still a 2-on-2. Running out of time, but JW saves Olaf as he gets this plant down. And the miracle work doesn't end here.
Olaf against Ricky, so much on the line. A tipping point in this map. Olaf is going to come through, lands the headshot for the second consecutive time. Fnatic get the clutch where it counts.
He's been an absolute boss in this overtime. I mean, he's had a good game overall in general, but some of the individual efforts he's made in this OT have just been so good. Playing this round from behind, Olaf is the one who finishes it off. And so they do have that one round advantage going into this second half of the second overtime. Again, a race to 22 rounds.
I mean, that could be a tilting moment for CLG, knowing that they were on the brink of even having a 3-0 CT side. I mean, those last two rounds came down to clutches. Crim's pulled off a 1v3. Olaf gets a 1v1. Another day here, CLG need one of the next 3 rounds to win this map. Instead, they're actually trailing by a round.
Yeah, they'll probably be disappointed in the fact that they didn't close out those rounds where they had the clear advantage. You have to wonder if it's just like the mental fortitude cracking as now Finesse botches a Molotov, so certainly not what you want to see. We are going to have JW here playing up close with the Max Heaven on ladder.
I don't know if that was on a preview screen or actually in the map, but he just went mental. See towers and everything. Either way, collect ourselves. It's been a long map of CS for both these two teams. One team must be a winner and move through with their top seed. JW again with the Max 7. We've seen this a whole bunch of times, but Finesse will dispatch of it. In fact, it's Flushery kills, not JW.
And Ricky looking for more against the double AWP setup that continues to be put into use for both these teams, but Olaf is the one who comes through with that solo op. He's going to take down Cutler. He gets it back into a 4-on-4. Rotation taking place for Fnatic over towards the inner halls. So we are going to see JW meet up with his teammate Dennis over here. So just splitting the defense 2-2. CLG still haven't really yet shown what they're up to. It seems like they want to do an outer split through ladder and T-Con. That's where the bomb is positioned, at least. Olaf watching it from back halls. Still has to worry about Ivy. But look at JW.
Excellent work by Finesse. Just watch the back. It seems like elementary stuff, but not having the tunnel vision to be peering across to the site. Olaf is going to come back with one, but Ricky is up to the task, and Dennis and Crims both have the arduous, horrendous task of retaking this site from the same angle. No kits. Or no nades, I should say. They do have a kit, and that wasn't too far off for Dennis. But we are all even again, 20-20.
Indeed, so whoever wants to win this here and now has to win out. Otherwise, we'll see another OT. Perhaps even more rounds here tonight in day one of DreamHack Summer. Still trying to figure out who's going to be that next first seed out the group, that next guaranteed spot in the playoffs. Neither team letting off the pedal just yet.
That just became the norm at this stage to see 4 ops. Today we've seen 3 ops, we've seen 2 ops and an auto sniper.
I'm wondering if CLG is going to give us a different look here. They're definitely gathered up very early on in inner halls, straying away from their default this time. Something Fnatic really never got away from, but CLG, they have tried new things here and there in this overtime, particularly that back halls inner split execute we saw that had success. This time, looks like it may just be a straight up plow on the inner balance side. They have plenty of utility to back it up. Looks like Ethan will be the one to lead it, as usual, here through the lower ramp, so trying something a bit different.
22 is the number that both teams are vying for. Crossfire established. Flusher doesn't get the kill, but does so much damage, and more importantly gets the information for his team, and he comes back in with not just one but potentially a second. Flusher putting on a textbook performance on how to hold B. The downside is, though, the rest of his team aren't really helping him out. It has gone down to a 3-on-3, albeit with Ethan on just 6 health. The bomb still hasn't been planted, but it has been dropped out. JW and Olaf both come through with kills, and that's on Finesse. If the bomb was planted at this stage, he'd be loving life. He's got a Molotov. Instead, he has to try and work his way on. And Fnatic now have a match point. It's their turn.
And again,
pressure on CLG.
Again, it's Olaf just making these crazy plays, sneaking through here, getting the shot in the back. Flush also had a great initial hold to keep his team in this round. Despite the trade back from CLG, Olaf and company close it off. And so now they have a chance to end this here and now to get that spot in the playoffs, to make the hometown crowd proud. But there's still some fight here in CLG, still on a full up buy, still could force that third OT. Again, we know the T side's been the more powerful side throughout this game. So we see again CLG lining up a bit different to kick off the round. Again, trying something a bit new. A lot more presence towards T-Con this time, but the aggression out does so much damage to Kusta.
Yeah, he gets dinked through the wall there, down at 41. Dennis is go peeking, but he doesn't expect the second blade to be to his left side, and if he picked up both of them, CLG would have been wobbling on their feet.
Not sure what that was about.
Ricky, mate, you just got done by your own smoke.
Yeah.
Unless he was throwing it to escape, in which case, fair enough.
Yeah, still escapes, but just not quite the way he wanted to. But it does happen. We still have a bit of a game of chicken going on here at Ivy. Who's going to peek? Basically, is Finesse going to give this shot to JW? The answer so far, resounding no. As Crim's playing up close on ladder room. Two players are posted up top, and again, you can hear the pin pulled if they tried to pull a flash or something, and you can get that information. So sometimes it can be the advantage holding that ladder room because of it. Ooh, JW almost got himself a little piece there.
Instead, it's Kusta that rattles out the victorious shot. And he's piecing out of that. They get the pick, and they're looking to rotate on the B side. 24 seconds left. Finesse misses his chance, but so does JW. This is keeping them interested on the A side, and now he's going to try and work his way around the back. We've seen this before, just under different circumstances. Flush is going to come in with the kills now, 12 seconds. CLG have got to get their move on, onto the site. Flusher, all he has to really do at this stage is just waste valuable time, but it's going to be 3 kills in as many seconds, and CLG have done it. We move to a triple overtime.
My God, like this is just the game that keeps on giving. You can just see how drained both teams are. Like this is just so mentally taxing that this just continues and continues to go on. Now the new goal is 25. Again, the T side has been the favorite side for both these teams to find rounds. My goodness. We're having a pretty fast day up until this point. Both these teams are not willing to let go. Not at all.
Stubbornness, tenacity by both teams shown has been admirable, but there has to be a winner. And once more we delve into overtime. The elusive mark 25. Both teams are jockeying for. A whole bunch of utility thrown out early doors by both teams. And I would say Fnatic have had the upper hand in that confrontation. Ethan's down to 60, Ricky's taken 13 health and damage too. Ethan's going to draw out that smoke onto Pop Dog from Fnatic, who've chunked through a fair amount of their nades. They still have a bunch on Flusher, Olaf, and JW.
Yeah, again, just keeping it slow because of double ops on the T side again. This has really just been kind of the norm for both these teams, really just kind of taking that approach of trying just to see if they can get op picks early, but it really hasn't come to fruition a lot of the time. They do have that double ladder room control here on CLG, something they really like to have, particularly with these two players. Ethan going to be leading the charge for an outer split, it looks like. At least that's what I would imagine, but as I say that, they shuffle that bomb in the inner halls, including Finesse, so maybe a little bit of an audible being called to bounce off of what normally would look like an outer split into perhaps a push into inner halls, including Kusta with the AWP coming down lower. Flusha, though, has that incendiary. Definitely could disrupt things. Does. They're forced to run through it, take some damage, and they're split up now because of it.
Flusha's done a really solid job of holding B alone for the bulk of these CT rounds, and he's once again going to be drilling down Ethan. With the molly and the kill, he's ate up so much time. It's allowing Crims to maybe make a move around the back, but Finesse is up to the task. Kusta comes through with the kill as well. As does Cutler. Bomb planted. Fnatic, chances somewhere between slim and none. Kusta on the prowl for more. Spots the Shin peeking out from One of the aggressing CTs. Double ops in play. There's the first one. Dennis is going to make it stick. 3 more to go. But again, it's the GG Molly that is in play. That Cutler currently possesses, and Finesse with the flank is able to get 2.
So there you have it, the 1-round advantage going to CLG. Again, it's the T side that is having the success. This, of course, a big play. This is the big difference. The fact that Finesse was able to get from behind on Connector like that at the end. That was kind of the thing we haven't really seen yet. So it seems like CLG's really been the one that pushed the envelope on bringing new things to overtime. Just little tweaks, small adjustments. Certainly benefits them to close out that round. As again, Ethan gets in the ladder room very quickly here. So maybe a little bit of a pacing change out of CLG, but with that double op, it's hard just to go straight for it.
What's pretty amazing to me is that we're this deep in a triple overtime, and Flush has consistently been on B on his own. He has some help now, but it shows the amount of ability he has and the trust the rest of his team have in him to constantly hold B. You have to be such an intelligent player to hold it by yourself. Know the timings, know when to fall back, know when to stay in position.
Yeah, they also have that second out that's usually playing inside Z, so he's usually going to have some small amount of assistance, at least early on, as soon as he feels a little bit of pressure. But you're right, his maneuvering and inner has been pretty big, as well as the fact that he's even come up with a couple of multi-frag rounds from that position. That's very difficult to do, as it is CLG, again, looking to put something down here inside the inner halls. You begin to see them splitting inner and upper. Olaf posted up with the AWP, trying to see if he can put a stop to it. Does find the first frag. Flusha follows it up.
Just the 1 kill, but the player advantage falls upon Fnatic. Able to get some chunk damage too. Nice shot by Ricky though. Olaf shows his head. Jumps up. Kusta's in prime position to strike. There's 1. And now this round is quickly going in favor to the terrorist. Kusta not far off on his second flick. JW going to try and match him with his AWP. Actually changes out to the M4 instead to spray through the smoke. Crim's going to be watching his back, and that's solid duo work. But Kusta's there for another one, and he also has a molly as well. JW does too, but it's not going to be enough time anyway. He has no kit. Has no chances. CLG will pick up another round. And they move to 23.
Indeed they do. Can they clean sweep again? They started off the first overtime that way. Of course, Fnatic responded right back with a clean sweep of their own. That's why we're still here. But CLG starting to put some work in on these inner halls. As again, it's still double op for each side. It's just been such commonplace in this game. That's what's made it so much more mentally taxing, is just like the patience, the slow play. Until that climax moment, you never really know what you're going to get. But this time we have a lot of early action taking place here at Ivy. JW, the victor of it thus far. But a great trade from Ricky from T-Con.
Yep, smart to simultaneously pick up Ivy and T-Main with their AWPs. Making sure that even if JW does rattle off a shot, he's going to get answered on. And yeah, I totally agree with you. I mean, if you look at the ratio of fast explosive rounds to very slow ones that are more AWP peeking, trying to find a couple of weaknesses in the armor of the enemy, I feel like we've only had 1 or 2 really fast-paced rifle rounds.
Yeah, and the funny thing is it's mostly been CLG doing them. You know, when you think about the classic Fnatic, you'd expect it to be them, but they've really tried to throw a different look with this lineup this time around. As we do have an even 4-on-4 situation. Again, CLG are looking to test the waters at inner. They've had some success here, of course. Flusha is going to be the solo hold here once again. Going to have that incendiary to perhaps slow them down, but everyone's going to come out upper, actually. So even though he throws this lower, they may just bypass it altogether, and they're not giving any indication they're actually hitting this, so he's not going to get that support either until they're probably already out.
Yeah, whereas last time Olaf was at the back of the site, already trained up onto Catwalk. This time he's going to be a bit late to the party, and the waterfall of terror should already be on there, but Olaf's still going to pluck a player out. The nade's not able to stop the bomb plant, but again, Fnatic have the player advantage. Last time it wasn't enough. Dennis could be getting the flank kill, though. Finesse playing the position, switches to a nade. That's going to cost him dearly. Now Dennis could go to task with a second, and he knows where the third player is. Now Ricky doesn't have a Molotov. Beautiful work by Dennis. That flank, so impactful. And Fnatic will pick up a much-needed CT round in this third overtime.
Yeah, again, that flank was pretty massive, especially considering Flusha had the drop all the way back and wasn't really able to play like he had been before, getting those early kills, slowing them down. But yeah, Dennis just comes right on through. 3 kills before it's all said and done from him. And so it will not be the clean sweep from CLG in that OT half. We will sit at 23-22. Again, the race is to 25. Or we could see another overtime. That's always a thing. Could be 24-24. The way this is playing out, wouldn't be surprised.
I mean, we are getting towards that mark of, you know, we're currently in, what, round 46. The players have been playing for an exceptionally long time now with really no breaks. I mean, we haven't even had that many tactical pauses now that I think of it.
Yeah, not really, no.
It's just been constant, brutal Counter-Strike, you know, constant grinding.
Yeah, constant slow openings as well. This time Fnatic doesn't go straight for the double op on the T side, as we have seen quite a lot. So that's at least a little bit of something different here from them. But again, it's really still the same default. I mean, just Olaf working over here towards Ivy. Inner Hall's control being taken by Fnatic. Flusha the one going to be posted up to kind of hold on to it.
Slow and steady wins the race.
I guess, man. Every round feels like it's been at a turtle's pace, really.
It has made for intriguing watching, though. It feels to me like a game of chess that we're seeing being played out between these two in-game leaders. Nothing really that much in terms of adaptive play. I mean, obviously that CLG play you're talking about going through Ivy around the back. Other than that, it's been pretty much the same stuff that we saw in regulation.
Yeah, just default into late round executes, I mean, has really been it. Looks like we are going to see Fnatic maybe coming to the gas pedal a little bit earlier on. We see them already line up their smokes for a heavy outer execute. They don't have any presence Ivy either, so it's really just going to be all T-Con. As I say that, though, the nades come out and then they do send Olaf back over towards Ivy, so they're not going to follow this up right away.
These are the kind of traps that Fnatic were falling into before, though, because by the time they start to get in position, this is where Ricky can strike, but JW had his number. Finesse now, they're going to line up for him, but he also gets traded out without getting anybody in return. Solid entries by Fnatic will be converted into a bomb plant. Cutler, the only player to answer back, and Ethan, well, he's got 4 players to fight. There's one. Likely we'll get clothesline from Dennis on the side of Ivy, double stacking it. Fnatic with a 23rd.
It's the first time I've really seen them just run that play, just like a standard smoke wall on the train and just execute out mid-round. Like, really haven't seen them go to that before. And they get the job done with it. Pretty clean stuff. And so now they still have a chance to win this in this OT. Again, it's basically win out and win, or you split and we're going to another overtime. That's what's on the line here. As we will keep the single op set up for Fnatic. Double op still in play for CLG. Again, Fnatic opening up, just trying to get control of inner halls and just playing back, anticipating some aggression from CLG. You haven't really done so at Ivy or anything like that. Every now and then you see Finesse press up to that boost box, but they've never really actually pushed all the way down Ivy. In fact, like, the only aggression we've really seen CT side is like when Dennis occasionally pushes T-Con when he's on CT side. Other than that, like, CTs have played pretty passive, other than maybe trying to maintain ladder room control.
JW forced out of position. Again, an identical position to where we were in the last overtime, with both teams neck and neck needing 2 rounds to outright win. So we are set up for another potential overtime. Ricky peering into Team A, an angle we haven't seen him use too many times up close to this kind of scenario. Made a bit too shallow, a bit too late. He's able to relocate on top of the green train. I think it's going to be coming up against him for the time being. And again, Fnatic for the 2nd consecutive round are using every second at their disposal. JW catches Ricky as he's in transition. Cutler's going to come back with one of his own. He's running out of bullets with his M4, has to reload, and that's going to cost him his life. But Finesse also goes down in the backside of the site, and Dennis is going to go through with a 2nd kill. Fnatic are going to be able to get this round, surely, and we'll have another match point.
Indeed, they will. Again, once they decide to go out, the entries are crisp. I mean, Dennis, JW, and Crims all got in there. So once they decide to attack, they've been able to start winning out these duels a lot more dominantly. And so now, as you noted, they are the ones that sit in the position of being able to put this one away here and now at this next round. Get that first seed, get that semifinal spot guaranteed. Skip tomorrow. That is what's on the line in this next round for them. CLG, though, looking to see if they can't stay alive, of course. If the rest of this game's any indication, you certainly can't count them out of this one.
No, you can't take anything for granted in this map. That's what we find out time and time and time again. Now, typically, CLG would have gone for a double AWP here, but simply Ricky only had about 4k in total, so he's going to go for an M4 instead. I think someone may have actually dropped that for him. So could that be the slight weakness that Fnatic will capitalize on? Early off, a couple nades have been exchanged, just making sure the team main push wasn't imminent. The incendiary went down, Molly thrown in so that Kusta can't peek up box halls, and Ethan's trying to shoulder peek. It's a dangerous game, but he's going to come out ahead. Kusta misses his chance. Won't be punished for it, though. But Finesse will come huge through for CLG and land himself a kill and dart away. A free kill at this stage of the game, at this stage of the marathon, must be said in this match. How important could that kill be?
It could keep CLG alive very well. I mean, every now and then it comes down to just one kill like that. They could be forcing that next overtime. This has been quite the marathon. And will it continue to question Fnatic, though? They still have a chance with the 4-on-5 to maybe make something happen here. Time is starting to get low. They're going to make their decision soon. They're leaving Olaf here outside Ivy. They have 2 pressed up into inner halls. Bomb carrier, the JW with AWP starting to shift his way towards inner halls as well. So maybe they're looking to inter-execute and have Olaf come on a backstab late. Remember, it was Finesse who had a big backstab through Z that kept CLG alive not so long ago. Maybe now it can be Olaf who does the same thing as he does creep in behind that smoke. No one spots him, so he could be the snake in the grass that delivers for Fnatic.
His position is of paramount importance to Fnatic. And he's going to get the drop on not just one player, but potentially 2. No, Ricky to his left side will get the better of him, and a beautiful headshot onto Flusher keeps the dream alive. JW 1-on-4 is going to get one but traded out, and we're going to another overtime.
Of course we are. I mean, that's just been how this game has played out. It's just so tedious, man. Like, these teams just taking it so slow, playing so cautiously, trying to make sure that they kind of go through their full checklist and, you know, leave nothing untaken care of. And here we have it. Now a race to 29. Rather 28. I apologize. The mind is starting to melt. I'm sure it's the same way for the players.
Yeah, if we're struggling, the players must be on a different level.
I mean, CLG, if you think about the fact that they had to play overtime against Gambit earlier today on Overpass, and now this, like, they've played a lot of Counter-Strike today.
Yeah. It has been a marathon, as I say. But here we go. Once more into the breach, dear friends. Interestingly, CLG going to stick with just the 1-AWP this time around, even though they did have the funds to go for 2. And they're going to line up for Finesse. And there's a bit of team damage thrown in the mix there from Crims, but the end result is the same, and that's that CLG have a 2-player advantage. And wouldn't you know it, Fnatic, they try an all-out rush, and it has been completely swatted away. Like flies on a windshield. They have been dispatched of. Olaf, a standout player. Oh, that was so close to landing in Pop Dog. The presence of mind, the clarity of mind to know a player might be peeking him there is impressive by itself. But he's not out of this round just yet because they went for such an aggressive start. He has over a minute to play with, but he has no health in which to use it. Quadruple overtime, our home, and CLG are nestling in nicely with that first round.
Well, you can't knock Fnatic for trying that, right? I mean, you feel like it's just been so tense with all these slow rounds. You finally want to change the pace and do something different. Play the mind games a bit. Unfortunately for them, they just get absolutely shut down, and so CLG have the 1-round advantage. And again, CT rounds have been the ones that have been hard to come by throughout this entire game. So CLG getting one right off the bat certainly is helpful. And they might just keep it going along as Kusta takes out the opening pick on Flush in the inner halls.
How many times, though, Dust, have we seen CLG get the opening pick and the round just slip and slide away? Dennis is very low, however, creeping his way out of Team A. Now on E-Box. A plethora of players peeking his position, however. Somewhat surprising no one's tossed a nade his direction. JW. A CS equivalent to a palm in the face as a Molotov lands by his feet. Did Cutler spot JW moving past there? I think he may have just moved too far to his left to see the pixel move by. And now I'm sure of it as no one's peeking him. JW, though, does miss out on his chance, and elsewhere Dennis has fallen. Crims comes back with one of his own, and Olaf is nearly team killing. I don't know what just happened there. Maybe again showing mental fatigue starting to set in somewhat. Still, time to burn. Fnatic in no great rush. A low finesse will face off against them. Kusta looking for the ankle bite the shot. Not going to connect just yet. Crim's going to go for the plant. Finesse is going to be peeking, but not quite wide enough when Kusta comes clutch with the kill. That looked pretty close to me for JW, but instead it is going to be the miss, and now he's mollied out of position. Throwing the nade, banking it off is going to do quite a lot of damage, but the bomb is now being defused fully. And there's nothing he could really do from that situation. JW tried his best, but CLG have a 2-round lead.
From the CT side is the big point to make there as well. Again, when you think about the struggles these teams have had on the defense in this map, the fact that CLG go up 2-0 in this OT half, definitely got to be big for them. That could be finally the turning point. They need to put this thing down. But Fnatic go back to double op setup, and I wonder if they're going to just slow it back down again. They've tried some faster pace stuff, and it hasn't quite panned out. And Kusa's been a lot more aggressive towards Inter with his AWP in these rounds, but this time it does not pay off as it did in the previous.
Straight up eviscerated by Crims. Insta one tap. Pretty horrendous way to start the round for CLG, who are poised nicely for potential clean sweep on this half. Would be the first time we've seen this on the CT side. We have seen on this terrace side from both teams prior, not on the CT side though.
Right, yeah, that would be something new in this overtime if they could clean sweep it here. There's still certainly a chance for Colors in a tricky position. Looks like they do want to start working their way towards Inter just a bit here. They had that smoke up that Crims is trying to work around, as they have triple op actually right now in Fnatic.
Yeah.
I'm sure there's an AK somewhere in Inter halls that Crims can go back and collect if he so chooses, so they're not stuck on this per se.
I feel like it's okay to have a triple op now, but if we start to get to 30-second territory, that's where they're going to have to trade out for entry fragging purposes. It's of course assuming they don't get an entry frag sooner rather than later, but we are getting towards that 30-second mark. The pressure mounting. Only 2 flashes to stave off a potential push or retake. And now Ethan is wrapping himself round to the B side. They're bolstering up the defenses. One of those flashes has been utilized. Lands in the eyes of the terrorists, and Cutler comes through with a spray so close. Not able to get it done though. JW comes through for his team, and so does Crims. Fnatic again are showing you can never count them out of rounds. Finesse though could be on point to pick up that elusive 3-0 or not. JW with the emphatic denial, and there's another one. Finishing the round strong. It will still be though CLG in the driver's seat going through onto the T side.
Indeed, at least Fnatic fit one in there before the half closes out, but the fact that 2 rounds come out on the CT side for CLG, I think that's the most we've seen in an overtime from a CT team, so maybe that is just what they need. Now they can go over to their T side. They know they've been able to regularly get 2 rounds and even sometimes 3. That might be what they need. That might be the confidence builder that gets them in, but you know, Fnatic still hanging around with a round like this one, not letting the clean sweep come through. Big plays from JW with the AWP. I mean, putting up the numbers.
JW has been one of the standout players in the overtime. In regulation, Olaf was head and shoulders by the rest of his team, and now JW is just 5 kills behind him on 40. Olaf has consistently been at a solid tempo, so it's not like he's dropped off, just JW is really picking up the slack. That being said, CLG certainly in a commanding position. Hasn't really meant a whole deal, though, in this match. Early damage inflicted to Ricky, down to 44.
Just see CLG gathering up in these inner halls. a couple of players, but I mean, it's still pretty much default again because they keep going to this double op setup on T side. I'm surprised because like no one's really finding early picks with these ops on T side. Like it just hasn't happened. Like no one on CT is really taking aggressive peeks to allow that. Like everyone's just holding angles basically. It just puts everything at a standstill. But finally, Kusta gets a little bit active at Ivy and takes down JW at Ivy. I haven't seen that a whole lot.
I've got to go for the peak. Just a couple millimeters, pixels away from being able to see Cutler. Now he has spotted him, but he scores a goal between the two aggressing players, right between the middle of them. Dennis and Crims, though, up to the task alongside Olof. And they are looking to equalize the score once again. Finesse is able to put bullets down range and land with a second. Olof is low, but he's joined by Flusher. Although Finesse doesn't have control of the bomb, it's not far off him. Now, was he spotted? I think he may have just been spotted by Flusher as he went back up for the bomb. Now, Olof surely hears the footsteps, and indeed he shall. All even again. We're actually getting to that point now, Dust, where the teams have nearly played 2 full maps of Counter-Strike. We're now in round 53.
Certainly getting there. Getting the 2-for-1 deal in this game.
There's best of 3s that have been over quicker than this map.
Indeed.
That's got to be so grueling to these players at this situation. I mean, you know, we talked about mental fatigue. At this stage, it almost becomes sure these two teams can hold it together for longer.
Yeah, right. I mean, you felt like CLG had a little bit of a mental edge getting those 2 rounds on CT side in the previous half, but now Fnatic has already evened it back up. And again, we haven't seen a clean sweep yet on CT. But if Fnatic were able to pull it off, they'd win the game. They'd finally put an end to this day. As again, we have Kusta and JW looking to exchange looks with each other here at Ivy. The flash pushes JW off, gives Kusta the angle. JW knows he can't really safely re-peek it, so just puts a smoke down. And we've seen a lot of that happening at Ivy. Just, you know, getting chased off, having to dump utility and back down.
Once again, eerie silence falls upon the battlefield as neither team trying their luck too much. Just the distant explosions and burning of incendiaries. Now the smoke's starting to plume. No real aggression behind it, though, from the terrorists. CLG happy to stay in a little while longer.
Yeah.
Snaking their way through Ivy will be Finesse. JW tasked to fend off this push, and he will land it partially flashbanged. I think he may have just seen him before the flash fully detonated.
That could be the one, because now they have the man advantage in CLG running low on time down to the last 30 seconds. Finally starting to spill out into the outer bomb side. Ethan trying to lead the way, gets the entry, evens up the numbers now. Kusta follows it up to actually tilt the advantage back over to CLG. So they will be able to get this bomb planted, perhaps. But no, Dennis and Olafmeister, they're now coming in for a mess load of frags, and so it's all on Cutler to 1v3. He can't hack it. And Fnatic, they are at map point. We've seen a lot of these.
Yes, it is. I'm just making sure, because we don't often get to quadruple overtime.
Indeed.
But it is indeed map point again. I don't know how many of these we've had for both sides. Both sides have had their fair share of match points at this stage.
Indeed.
But can Fnatic do something that CLG hasn't been able to, and that's get over the finish line? They've been so close so many times. It's been a real back and forth encounter throughout. 4 AWPs in play, no surprises there. It's been a brave battle to the death between these two. But who will be victorious?
Yeah, so Ethan trying to lead the charge here out of ladder room. Again, trying to be that entry man for his team. It certainly worked out in the last round to at least get them through, but it was just the recovery that was so big from Fnatic. This time he can't even find the opening. It's Olafmeister who grabs it with the deagle. Are Fnatic finally piecing this together?
A much needed kill as well, Dust. That had to land, but it's going to be elsewhere where CLG are coming through ahead. Ricky with another one, and we're going to another overtime.
What is this?
A quintuple overtime.
My goodness, man.
Mate, my bladder can't handle this anymore.
I'm sorry. You're getting a workout right now.
I needed to before we even started this match. I was like, can I go? No. You're going to cast a quintuple overtime. Vince, get wrecked.
Could be more than that.
Mate, at this stage, we could get... I expect us to be casting tomorrow.
could very well.
This match.
Could very well. Just a couple of hours away from that, it seems like. Is that thought that that was looking good for Fnatic? I mean, they got the opening pick with Olafmeister. Things are starting to get hung up, but then somehow just a couple of fast frags pop off for CLG, and lo and behold, we're going to another OT. Now it's a race to 31. That's the new goal. A split on 30s would mean another overtime. Wouldn't that be something? Wouldn't it be something if they opened up double op and played to the last 30 seconds of the round every round again? That could also be something.
Get off it, that's madness. That would never happen.
Okay, we're seeing a little bit of triple Ivy set up here from CLG. Okay. Maybe this is the change of pace. JW getting antsy. He wants a frag early.
I like it. It could backfire horrendously, though. Oh, he's missed, and that's going to cost him a vital position on the map. Now, it's been slow, but it has been endearing stuff. It has been intense Counter-Strike. Entertaining. Kusta with yet another one. He's picked up 2 so far. Crimson in such a good position to strike beneath him. Domes him instantly. And Ricky's there for another one. CLG, who are on the brink of collapse in the last round. Oh, they're coming out swinging here in the 5th overtime.
Yeah, again, just putting a lot of emphasis at Ivy early on. Catching JW was certainly big. He tried to do an aggressive play. He got caught missing the shot. And CLG were quick to follow it up, no hesitation, and to roll it out into a round victory, so they will move up to 28.
Oh, flush up. Do you have it within you to take any players away from this round? Yes, you do. Nade is destined for damage, and Kusta's down to 28, so he's taking quite a few weapons off the table. The clutch was never really on the cards if CLG played it even remotely intelligently, and they did, in fairness, although they lost 2 players.
Yeah, I mean, just JW getting caught like that certainly hurt, and they just kept it rolling. Ricky also got a pick from Ladder Room as well with his AWP, so CLG, again, off to a good start. But they've had plenty of overtimes where they've been able to get the early advantage. They've just never been able to finish off the job. We'll see what they want to go for this round. Again, keeping the double op out there, still keeping Kusa looking for picks through T-Con. No one really giving him too much to look at, though.
This is the moment where heroes are forged. And these overtimes, who can be the difference maker? These teams really have been inseparable. Not just because of the scoreline, but the nature of how this has been going. You know, both teams have had chances. It's not like Fnatic have always had the match points and CLG been hanging on for dear life. They've had their chances to win this match too. And a whole bunch of them. Yeah,
there was definitely a lot of different points throughout this overtime series where you felt like one team finally had done it. Like they had finally gotten the edge they needed. They had finally won that key round that made the world of difference, but their opponent's always been able to respond, and now we're going to see an inter-execute here taking place by CLG. Lots of rotations already in here from Fnatic, though. They already have 3 players in inter.
It's unfortunate from Olof's perspective. You could see what he was going for. Ethan with a couple of brisk entry frags. This is using that smoke to make a move. It's intelligent play, but as soon as that smoke clears, you expect him to be a dead man. He's still alive and kicking for a few more seconds. That's what a valuable time for Crims to actually land the flank. JW's interested in this as well, but now he is the last line of defense on this retake. And CLG put him down. So again, CLG in the driver's seat. Fnatic need this round, man.
Again, a chance for a clean sweep on T side. That is what's in the cards right now. Fnatic buying back into WWP, so we'll keep that going. Does CLG want to do something even a bit different this time? It's like, once again, they want to go for triple Ivy. They had success with this the first round of this overtime half. Particularly because they caught JW out this time, JW playing further back.
Well, I said to you before, hold the phone for a second, because it looks like JW is about to be in a bit of confrontation. He's missed that chance. And the second, I was going to say that I mentioned earlier that JW had really started to pull it back, that Olaf was on 45, he's on 40. He's only picked up 1 kill since I mentioned that, and now Olafmeister's up to 52. Now, Fnatic cannot afford for JW to go absent in these rounds.
It's also just the way that he's going down. Like, it's just giving CLG 5-on-4s at Ivy 2 out of 3 rounds of this half. And so that advantage is definitely devastating for Fnatic in a moment like this. You can see it's probably frustration, like JW just tries to force a fight, one round gets taken out, that time he tries to force a repeat, doesn't work, and now again CLG off to a great start. They take that advantage and just keep extending it as every second passes, another pick goes in their favor, and now they have a 5-on-2.
Buckle yourselves in, Fnatic fans. This is getting dicey. They're eyeing up the very real possibility of needing a clean sweep on their T side. Flusher and Olof have both been playing exquisite Counter-Strike, and Olof's going to try and rinse and repeat so many times. He's came up huge in this map for Fnatic, but this is asking so much even for him. Have to weather the storm. No nades, no kit. But a solid flick onto Finesse is going to open things up nicely. Checking every corner. And there is Ethan. CLG have done it, the 3-0, but we've been here before.
Indeed we have. That's how we started. That was the first overtime half. Was CLG going up 18-15. And now look where we are. So you certainly can't have that expectation that this is truly over, just because how these T sides have played out. But CLG, they just need that one more round to go ahead and move on to the semifinals in day 3, skip tomorrow. And again, make this tournament quite interesting when you consider the fact that I don't think neither Immortals nor CLG were going to be considered first seeds out of their group. No way. And it could very well happen now.
You can just see the fatigue.
Oh, yeah.
They say pictures speak 1,000 words. I think you need
1,000 Z's.
Yep, that one. Not saying he's mentally checked out, but got to give a lot of respect to both teams for battling this far, making a real go of it. But Fnatic, it's pretty simple. Win the next 3 rounds, or you do lose this map and this match. Need to start solidly. This is where JW's been landing so many kills. If he starts to turn off here, then it's going to be bad news. Kusta goes down, playing aggressively. Dennis will decapitate him.
Kusta trying to be the one to initiate, but he isn't going to get caught, and so now it's Fnatic getting the early advantage on their T side. Who would have thunk it? As Fnatic will just keep the holding pattern, and now, I mean, why not? They have such an early advantage really early on this round. They have so much time to play with, and neither team has been shy about taking their time. As we'll see if anybody else from CLG is looking to try to make a play. You do see Ethan playing up close here at inner halls. Even looks like he wants to peek brown halls. Might even be able to get behind Fnatic, as they are focused up on trying to get into ladder room right now. As he does slowly begin walking up. Oh, he could be the thorn in their side if he gets in behind them fast enough.
Certainly could be the difference maker. Prim's getting a kill out the Molotov is so sick for Fnatic. But is this where the rotation is going to be gold? No. Ethan has no legs to stand on. Even if he gets this kill, his position's compromised and JW puts him down. Fnatic save another match point. 2 more to go if they want to take us into a 6th overtime. And man, there's something about these DreamHack Open events that just keep giving overtimes. I think I was casting with Anders last year in Bucharest, and we had 4 or 5 overtimes in that game as well. Unreal.
Indeed, this has been a long race. Maybe even longer than that Ironman Mark Winter's going to be running in Copenhagen. Like,
we are nearly into the 60th round. 1 more to go. Maybe CLG won't let us get that far. They have the ability to take this away from Fnatic right here, right now. They're 1 round shy.
Yep, 2 chances to do it. As we are going to see again, Fnatic taking it slow. Again, they're going to play a forward presence over here towards Ivy, doing that bait setup again with Kusta's AWP and Finesse playing up close. That's never really panned out for them yet. They've tried this a couple of times, but this time around, Finesse just takes a lot of damage, but he's going to hold his ground. A lot of times, players have, been quick to boost on this spot and clear that, so Finesse will actually backpedal out of there.
He's going to get on his bike and scurry away. Ivy presence is maintained though by Olof with his AK. Kusta's having a gander over towards Pop Dog. No one is home. Fnatic are all but absent for the time being. And you can understand at this stage, I mean, there's so much on the line.
Right.
At this stage, it's just a point of not wanting to lose, I guess, more than anything else, because you've invested so much into this game. So one mistake could cost you dearly.
Certainly, as Fluster try to get a little bit of an entry going there through the smoke, but misses the shot. Now they shuffle over into an outer split 3 ways. Ivy, T-Con, and Ladder, but Kusta's the one to draw first blood. Tries to follow up with the second one, doesn't. It's the trade from Fluster instead.
Need to land for CLG. You have to feel there's only 10 seconds left. Fnatic have got a push on the site right here, right now. They're going to be getting kills, but this bomb going to get denied. Indeed, it will. There'll be a horrible way for Fnatic to lose, and it's happened. CLG in the 5th overtime have got past the finish line, and they will move through to the semis in first seed. Fnatic will be devastated.
Certainly they will. They hung around for so long, but CLG get the job done. It's them and Immortals, the first 2 seeds out of this into the semifinals. Definitely not the 2 names we expected. And CLG, they're going to need the rest tomorrow after the marathon they just went through today. Both their games went into overtimes. This one, it took 5. So they've played a lot of Counter-Strike already this tournament. And so there you have it. CLG come out victorious.
God, I hate it, man. I can't imagine what's going through the minds of Fnatic right now. Olaf had such a good performance as well throughout. He's consistently great for Fnatic, but it just wasn't enough in the end. CLG proving to be too strong. Kusta had a fantastic performance for me.
Yeah, we talked about that they had the tools on CLG to be great. Like they had the map familiarity, they had the firepower who was showing up at times. Like Ricky and Kusta and Ethan have been like really developing into this trio that can really deal damage at different points throughout this game. All of those players certainly had their moments, and really, I mean, everyone kind of had their moments. There's so many rounds, there were so many chances to have them, but in the end, it was CLG who kind of fit in those key plays there at the very end to go ahead and finally finish things off.
But I think we've done enough talking for today. Let's head over to the stage for the last time, where Pala has an interview lined up.
Everybody who is still here in the crowd, put your hands together for CLG. That was an amazing performance, showing grit and determination against the hometown heroes. Commiserations to Fnatic. Now, I have tried to pick the man of the match here. In my own opinion, of course. Kusta, that was an amazing performance.
Thank you.
And so, for you, what was it like playing through that match, almost 2 hours of Counter-Strike?
It was just a grind. I mean, I've had to use the bathroom since the first half. Yeah. Admins brought us water, that was good. But yeah, it was just a grind. Towards the end there, I started missing shots that I normally would hit. So, I don't know, I think it was like that all across the board.
Can I ask you, in your opinion, why did it go so long? Why did we see 5 overtimes? What happened?
Honestly, I have no clue. I was just playing the game. We were trying to make adjustments, and I think we were just like overthinking it, honestly. And on that last CT half, we kind of just went back to what we knew, like what worked. I mean, our T sides were consistently good. We were consistently getting a lot of T rounds, so it just came down to our CT sides.
Now, credit to Alex, he was you guys' pick for this match, but I think in general, you guys maybe wouldn't have been considered for being the second team going through to the semi-finals. Is it a big relief off your shoulders?
Yeah, I mean, we get a day off tomorrow. That's definitely good. So, yeah, not much else to say about that. It's just good feeling.
And so with regards to you guys as a team then, I asked Finesse earlier today, are you happy with how you guys are playing at the moment? Because it really seems like, at least at this tournament, you're on the rise.
I think I've been playing well individually, but we do have some sloppy rounds that we can clean up on both sides of the map. So hopefully, you know, we can take the day off tomorrow, rest up, and just focus for semis.
Exactly, and so what will you be doing tomorrow? How do you relax? And like, do you do any research as well during that time off? Do any practice and getting ready for your future games?
I think there's a Husky retreat over here in Jönköping, so I think we're gonna do that.
Oh, that's awesome. Are we gonna film it at all, or is that just like a private thing?
I don't know, you guys can come if you want.
Well, we'll have to see. Kusta, congratulations. That was an amazing performance. You really had to battle hard. Olaf also got over 50 frags. Any final words to anyone you want?
Shout out to my family, our fans, friends. Thanks for watching.
Awesome. It's a pleasure to see you guys performing so well, and we will see you 2 days from now. Everybody, that will be it from myself and the players on the stage for today. Let's head back to the Corsair analyst desk for one final time. Alex, take it away.
Oh, thank you, Parla. What a journey. One of the games of the tournament already. One of the games of the year already.
Yep.
5 OTs, CLG against the Swedish fans and the Swedish team. Whew.
It was absolutely madness.
That was exhausting.
It was.
I wasn't even playing. Actually, the toilet break just in overtime.
Yeah, it gets warm in the green room. I can only imagine how it's inside those booths.
Fantastic. CLG, I mean, I'm not even going to be happy about my prediction. I mean, I'm just happy for CLG. That's a huge win. Immortals
Massive.
and CLG are the two teams who get a bye tomorrow and will be in the semi-finals of the DreamHack ASTRO Open here, 2017's DreamHack Summer. Well, do you want to try and talk about regulation, or should we just jump straight to OT? Vendetta and Pimp joining me. What do you think? Just skip to
Do we even remember? I remember jotting down round 21,
Okay.
Dennis, something.
And then that was,
Completely blanked on it.
Okay, let's start with sweeping statements. Every player, almost every player in that server had like a round or more where they just completely took over the server. Actually, let's start with the Olaf thread, because from a convincing win, despite his like a lackluster performance, to just round after round of like retro Olaf shining through him.
He is like the reason it got as far as it got.
Yes.
You know, they were behind. CLG were about to win the game, and like they were having the foot on the pedal, right? But Olaf just wanted it differently. And I think we saw, what it was, 2 rounds or 3 rounds in a row where he put up 7 or 9
That
kills.
was like the second overtime.
Yeah. Exactly, and it was like, that's Olaf from like 2015. That's the guy we talked a little bit about prior to the game. That was insane to see, and like doing that in such a pressured moment, that's just a sign of class, and it's a sign that he still got it, you know, because you could maybe wonder that after such a long period.
I think thrives under pressure is a good tag to put under Olaf's name. It's like, oh wait, this is a really hard game. Let me show you what I can do.
Yeah, no, and he definitely delivered as well. It was, I think, you know, as much as of the spotlight all of us going to take, I don't think we can.
This is his gameplay now.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, you can just kind of gawk really at what he's able to do a lot of the time. But yeah, you know, not to just focus on Olafmeister. I think it's also fair to bring up JW, who really set the tone with Olafmeister early on as well, and he had some absolutely
this flash
very typical JW like ways of actually finding entries and whatnot. But
they are showing their personality. That the flair we talked about. You talked about JW. You talked about Olaf and what they were capable of. That same gameplay is fitting within a new system. Very fun to watch.
Absolutely, very much so. And obviously on the other side,
let's do it. We have to.
Kusta, yeah, like I'd like you to tell your story.
Oh, please.
No, no, but Kusta just from start to finish was pretty much just excellent. I mean,
you're not doing what you said. He made a rap.
A little bit.
You want to do a rap? I'll drop a beat.
Well, can you do Fresh Prince of Bel-Air?
Okay, you ready?
How is that Fresh Prince?
I'm giving you a beat to do your rap.
No, I don't need a beat.
Okay, fine.
You had one job.
All right, never mind. He had something fun, but he's a pussy.
I actually can't remember the start to Fresh Prince of Bel-Air. Like, that's how tired I am.
Well, I mean, we'll move away from the White House and continue to focus on the Counter-Strike. Jacob, you haven't got any embarrassing raps for us, have you?
Not at all.
Okay, that's fine. Let's reflect upon this game just a little further. Yes, Kusta, huge takeaway. Let me bring up something that I'm not sure if it's going to be a bit of a volatile subject, but would that have got that far had they not been able to get their double AWPs? And they're such an effective squad with their double AWPs with that 16,000 MR3.
I think it swings both ways.
Okay.
Because, if I remember correctly, first OT, first buy round on CT side for Fnatic, they bought 2 AWPs and an auto sniper on Dennis.
Right.
Obviously, that's going to ruin your economy completely if you do 10K. Obviously, they're going to do a different buy if they have 10K. But with how one-sided pretty much or how dominant the T sides were for the better part of the OTs, CTs probably would have lost way sooner.
50 frags for 2 players.
Yeah. It's like you can find pros and cons for both teams, I guess. But to me, there's a clear favor in for CLG, basically, because they thrive best when they have double up, whereas Fnatic maybe not, So I know Fnatic has, like, they have the equal amount of money, so it's fair for both teams, but in the sense that CLG probably thrives better when they have, like, double ops, they have full nade set, they don't have to think about economy in that sense, and I think that's a little bit of a favor for CLG. Not a big margin, not at all, not the difference maker, I think, but still, like, you could see the favor there.
I mean, let's not forget, let's put this into perspective. It's easy when you've just seen CLG putting in such a fantastic show, but we have to remember that downright underdogs in this tournament, not in this tournament, but in this match specifically, they were the underdogs. We have Fnatic rising form. CLG, a team that wavered in their first game, clinched it out in overtime versus Gambit. Now they've come in here and flexed their muscles in 5 of them. These guys have played a lot of overtime in 2 best-of-1s.
Yeah, and not only that, like, because we talk about how important that double op setup is to the team, but they've started off both games terribly. They've started at a massive deficit, which is normally when you go away from the double ops, because you only get so many chances to actually sort out your economy before the gap becomes too big. And still, even with those kind of rough starts to the game, CLG are able to somehow grind their way back into it.
and no stranger to overtimes yourself. You've played your fair share. You can probably voice it better than we can of what kind of mental battle is going on when that OT goes to number 2, to number 3, never mind number 5.
Exactly, it's so hard because you tend to overthink things. Like I think Kusta said it pretty well himself. Like you tend to overthink. Like when you get into a game and it's 18-18, you go into the second overtime. It's like there's still some small adjustments you can make, but you've already played like 36 rounds. You know, that's a lot of rounds on one map, like playing back and forth.
The playbook's out the window.
Exactly, it's like you play on what you feel for. You play on like you try to adapt to the small things that has already happened in the game. So if you had a pre-game plan, like you can't really relate to that or use that for anything. It's all about now and in what happens right now in the moment, I guess.
Yeah. And you know, push team main with an AWP.
Funny thing.
Still works.
Why not? It's round 58 strategy. We talked about it.
Round 58 strategy. And my strategy now is to try and end this show without wanting to watch that game all over again. Let's have a look at those brackets. This is how it looks after just our first day. That's right, you have enjoyed an entire day of us here at the DH Open. That's the hashtag as well to get involved. Talk about how long you had to hold in your bladder to watch that game. I know a lot of us were doing the little dance. 31-28 the final score. Just how absurd that looks on the scoreboard. What a journey, and we do see Fnatic falling into that deciders match. They will be playing again tomorrow. Immortals and CLG, however, have the bye. They will sit down, go and stroke some Huskies, apparently. There's a Husky retreat.
I mean,
what are we doing working?
Well, how has Sadokist not been to that Husky retreat while he's been...
And how did Kusta know from the top of his head? He's like, what are you doing tomorrow? Huskies, yeah. Maybe that was the reward. Maybe that's what the coach said. He was like, hey, you win this overtime?
You get to pet Huskies.
We play with some Huskies.
Not bad.
Fantastic. Anyway, that's how it looks, and that is what we get to see tomorrow. The same again, all over again, same crowd, making the same amount of noise in the same place. That's right, Jönköping will be equally as loud and as exciting as it was today. I hope you join us, myself, Machine, Vendetta, Pimp, and everyone else behind the camera and at the casting desk. Join us tomorrow because it kicks off again. And what else is going to kick off is the app. It's called Strafe. Do be sure to check it out. It enables you to keep track of your favorite players. For now, it could be Kusta. You can follow him and see when he's live, both in-game and in his personal stream. You go check that out, and we'll see you tomorrow for day 2 of the DreamHack Open here.